Chapter 791. Su Liying used to be a little girl. Even though she was called a good-for-nothing back then, she still had a youthful smile on her face. Now, not only had she grown taller, she was now about 1.7 meters tall. Her long hair reached her waist, and there was a long sword at her waist. Her red dress accentuated her unusual beauty. She no longer had the smile on her face. Instead, she was expressionless and even cold. When he entered her body, he could feel a cold feeling from afar. "My daughter is back." Su Wanfu laughed when he saw Su Liying. There was a boy around 12 or 13 years old beside him. He was Su Liying's younger brother, Su Zhengyan. "Sister." Su Zhengyan rushed over. Over the years, Su Zhengyan's talent was not as good as hers, but he had reached the warrior realm. "Brother." Su Liying nodded and said to Su Wanfu, "Father." Then, Su Liying greeted the elders one by one. The elders all had smiles on their faces. They were fawning, envious, and nodding their heads with a hint of fear. Su Liying flipped her hair and walked into the inner room with Su Wanfu and the others. Wang Zhong stayed with the group of servants. He was a little emotional. He did not expect Su Liying to be so cold now. If he was not familiar with her, he would not have recognized her. "I didn't expect Miss to become so beautiful. After so many years, she must be very powerful, right?" A servant beside him said. "Isn't that so? She's also very tall. Look at the two girls following her. They must be masters of the Tianshan sect, but they are serving Miss as maids. It seems that Miss has a high status in the Tianshan sect." "Nonsense. Miss is so talented. She's a once-in-a-century genius. The Tianshan sect will naturally nurture her. By the way, Chen Ping, I remember that you were close to Miss when you were young." A servant with a protruding mouth and monkey-like cheeks smiled at Wang Zhong. Following which, he said in disappointment and frustration, "What a pity. I'm afraid that the young mistress has already forgotten about you." Previously, these servants thought that Su Liying would take care of Wang Zhong, so they had been polite to Wang Zhong. Unfortunately, when he looked at her just now, it was just like that. Didn't he see that eldest young miss didn't even look at Wang Zhong? Wang Zhong naturally understood the meaning behind this person's words. He shook his head and said, "Perhaps, but what does it matter if young miss has forgotten me or not? Of course it's related. Chen Ping, the treatment you get now is mostly because of your relationship with the first miss when you were young. Now that the first miss has forgotten about you, you're going to have a hard time in the future." This person was not on good terms with Wang Zhong. The reason was that they had a conflict over some small matters in the past. Therefore, he was very happy to see that Wang Zhong could no longer enjoy the same treatment as before. Unfortunately, Wang Zhong only looked at him coldly, as if he was looking at an idiot. "Do you think I'm relying on young miss? Let me show you this first." Wang Zhong took out a sign with a large word engraved on it, "Silver." Su Jiaoyin's bodyguard. In the Su family, the guards were divided into bronze guards, silver guards, and gold guards. The bronze guards were the gatekeepers and only knew some basic martial arts. However, the silver guards and above were different. The silver guards were at least at the peak of the martial disciple realm. In the future, they had the hope of becoming martial artists. Their status was completely different from the most ordinary servants. You. The servant was completely dumbfounded. "How could you be a silver guard? You actually know martial arts. When did you learn it?" Wang Zhong said, "I learned it when I was young. By the way, young miss taught me. Do you have any objections?" "You." The servant was speechless. If he had any objections, he would be tired of living. How could he dare to be long-winded? In the future, be careful with your words. Wang Zhong patted the servant's shoulder. He was very strong. This was the strength of a cultivator. The huge strength caused the servant's shoulder to hurt, and he grimaced. "Ouch, ouch. Humph." With a cold snort, Wang Zhong left. Wang Zhong didn't take these small fries seriously at all. He didn't pay attention to what Su Liying was doing. He went to the training field and began to train. By now, he had thoroughly studied many of the Su family's martial arts. However, he still couldn't figure out the annihilation divine art. This divine art was a mental cultivation method. It was indeed incomparably profound. At first glance, it seemed very simple, but after cultivating it, it was obscure and difficult to understand. He forced himself to cultivate it, and now he was only an intermediate martial disciple. This was because he had memories of the past, so he had a deeper understanding of the martial arts. Otherwise, it would be even more difficult for ordinary people to cultivate it. In the entire Su family, only a few people in the upper echelons had learned the annihilation divine art. This made Wang Zhong feel more and more strange. Was this divine art really as powerful as the Su family's ancestors said? While he was thinking, the door of the training field suddenly opened. The first to enter were a few juniors of the Su family. These people didn't know the relationship between Wang Zhong and Su Liying. When they saw Wang Zhong, they frowned and said, "What are you doing here? Get lost immediately." A frown appeared on Wang Zhong's face. As a lowly guard, he should indeed be obedient. However, the words of these two juniors were a little too harsh. "Why aren't you leaving? Don't you know that the eldest miss is coming?" One of the juniors was extremely fierce. He came up and wanted to slap Wang Zhong. Naturally, Wang Zhong wouldn't wait for death. He reached out to block the other party's palm and punched him in the stomach. Pfft! The person was sent flying. His face was extremely pale. "Good, what a servant. How dare you hit me?" If word got out that he was beaten up by a guard in the family, he wouldn't be able to show his face in the future. "You're courting death. Just you wait." He turned his head and was about to go out to complain. However, just as he turned his head, he saw Su Liying and some elders walking in. "What's going on? Why are you so flustered?" An elder said unhappily, "Grandpa, you have to make a decision for me. A lowly servant actually dared to hit me." The person pointed his finger at Wang Zhong. He was ashamed and resentful. However, when the elder saw Wang Zhong, he had a bad feeling. Sure enough, Su Liying coldly said to Wang Zhong, "What's going on?" Wang Zhong explained the matter. Then he said, "I'm cultivating here. I don't hinder anyone. If you want me to leave, of course I can." However, he didn't distinguish between right and wrong. He came up and wanted to slap me in the face. Isn't he treating me like a human? But, just as the person was about to speak, the elder next to him kicked him. He secretly scolded his grandson for being a fool. Didn't he know that Chen Ping was the eldest Miss Playmate since she was young? Although Su Liying didn't show anything, he still had to give some face to her childhood playmate. Unfortunately, no matter how hard he winked, the person still didn't understand. He still boasted shamelessly, "Grandpa, why did you hit me? This is a dog servant. Get out." Before he could finish, Su Liying coldly shouted, The person was dumbfounded. He didn't expect Su Liying to scold him for a guard. Then, two guards carried him out. They knew that this person wouldn't be valued in the future. "Thank you, eldest miss, for making a decision for me." Wang Zhong walked over. All of you can leave. I'll cultivate here alone." Su Liying only nodded slightly at Wang Zhong. Then, she said coldly, "Yes." The group of people left. Naturally, Wang Zhong also walked out. When he left, Wang Zhong was still very emotional. He didn't expect Su Liying to become so cold in such a short time. At night, Wang Zhong went to the place where the wet nurse used to live. Her memorial tablet was placed here. Because the wet nurse took care of Su Liying when she was young, after the wet nurse died, the Su family remembered this friendship and left this place for Wang Zhong to place the wet nurse's memorial tablet here. Wet nurse, eldest miss is back. She's really different from before. She's much prettier, but she's a little cold. Wang Zhong rambled on for a while. Then he lit incense and prepared to rest. Suddenly, the sound of something breaking through the air came from outside the door. Who is it? Wang Zhong turned his head. It was so late. Who could be outside? Just as he was about to go out, he saw a beautiful figure descending. After taking a closer look, Wang Zhong couldn't help but cry out, "Eldest miss, why are you here?" "Lower your voice." Su Liying rolled her eyes at Wang Zhong. "It's not good to be heard." This attitude was completely different from what he saw during the day. Then, Su Liying looked at the wet nurse's memorial tablet and sighed. She picked up the incense beside the tablet and said, "Wet nurse, I'm sorry I'm late." She began to light the incense with a respectful attitude. This made Wang Zhong sigh. If the wet nurse knew, she would be very gratified. At least, she still had a place in Su Liying's heart. When the wet nurse left, she didn't say anything, right? Su Liying asked after lighting the incense. She didn't say anything. She left very peacefully, Wang Zhong said honestly. That's good. Hearing this, Su Liying nodded slightly. How have you been recently? I've been so. I'm sorry. Why are you sorry? I once promised you that I would take you to the Tianshan sect. However, because of some things, it was delayed. What do you mean? In the Tianshan sect, although I have received the full support of the Tianshan sect, unfortunately, there are fights everywhere. I can't guarantee your safety after you go there, so I haven't let you go yet. Please understand. After speaking, Su Liying stuck out her tongue in embarrassment. Well, you don't mind, do you? Wang Zhong's expression was strange. Was this still the incomparably cold young miss? It turned out that he saw her during the day was all an act. She deliberately pretended to be cold, but in fact, she was a clown. Of course I don't mind. However, if I'm there, I might be able to help you. But those people are very strong, especially their identity and status. Even I am somewhat wary of them. I'm worried that if you go, what if they use you as a threat? Su Liying paced on the ground and said as she walked. Then just be stronger than them. Won't that be enough? Wang Zhong said. It's not that easy. Those people's status is not ordinary. How about I sneak into your team this time and go together? I think that works too. Su Liying beamed and said, You're really clever. You even thought of such a clever idea. Wang Zhong's expression was strange. Cough cough, that. Young miss, I saw that you were quite serious during the day. Why are you now? Do you dislike me and think that I'm too serious? Su Liying said angrily. No, of course not. It's just strange. Su Liying sighed and said, I can't help it. I'm now the Tianshan sect's holy maiden. It's very tiring to be a holy maiden. I have to be serious in order to avoid being laughed at. I also can't eat carelessly, go out to play carelessly, and can't speak carelessly. Otherwise, it'll be easy for others to think badly of me. After all, as the holy maiden, I represent the Tianshan sect's face. Do you understand? Oh, I understand. Wang Zhong nodded. In other words, Su Liying was now incomparably cold and arrogant on the surface, but secretly, she was a clown. Sure enough, she was the same as when she was young. As Su Liying spoke, she suddenly took out a few lotus leaves from the cloth bag she had brought. Wang Zhong's eyes lit up. Young miss, you're too good to me. You even brought me something. Su Liying rolled her eyes at Wang Zhong. You're dreaming. Here's some food. Normally, Master only allows me to eat immortal herbs and immortal valleys. I don't have any oil at all. Look at how thin I've become. Su Liying rolled up her sleeves and showed them to Wang Zhong. Wang Zhong's mouth twitched. Don't all girls like to be thin? That's true. But it's fine if I eat occasionally. At most, I'll practice my sword for a while. As she spoke, Su Liying's hands did not stop moving. She took out a lot of delicious food. Roast chicken, roast duck, roast fish, everything was available. She even brought out 2 bottles of wine. Wang Zhong sighed. You're drinking? Your master allows you to drink? She only allows me to drink the immortal wine she brews. She said that this wine won't make me drunk. After drinking it, it can improve my meridians. Wang Zhong nodded. Then I'll have to try it. As he spoke, he took a bottle of wine without hesitation. Su Liying snorted coldly. You're lucky. Tell me about the Heavenly Mountain sect. You're such a cute girl with good talent. You're also a saintess. How can you have enemies? Wang Zhong took a sip of wine and asked. Speaking of this, Su Liying sniffled and said angrily, Some people think that I'm talented and are deliberately looking for trouble. Those people think that you took their opportunities? Something like that. Also, it's because I offended some people. That's true. You need to change your temper. Su Liying raised her eyebrows. You think I have a bad temper? Of course not. I just think that you're too kind. Sometimes, people will climb all over your face. You can't be too low-key. Su Liying had such a low-key personality. Sometimes, it was good to be low-key. However, if she was too low-key, people would think that she was easy to bully. Su Liying nodded as if she understood. After that, she continued to talk about those people, allowing Wang Zhong to gain a rough understanding of the situation. Although the Heavenly Mountain sect was big, the bigger the place, the more complicated the relationships between people. Su Liying did not let him go for his own good. In the blink of an eye, the year passed. To Wang Zhong's surprise, Su Liying disappeared this year. Chapter 792. What? The young lady is missing. Not long after the new year, the head of the Su family, Su Wanfu, received extremely serious news. Not long after Su Liying returned to the Tianshan sect, she was suddenly attacked when she went out to train. She was seriously injured and then disappeared. It had been more than a week. Because it was too far away, the news only came from the Tianshan sect today. My daughter is missing. Slap. Su Wanfu slammed the table. Who dares to touch my daughter? Guards. Master. The butler ran in. Arrange for people to go to the Tianshan sect to help find my daughter. All right, let great-grandmother go too. But great-grandmother is old. I'm afraid she can't go. Su Wanfu's face was ugly. Got it. I'll go personally. That day, Su Wanfu prepared his men and went to the Tianshan sect. Go. Su Wanfu left with his men. As soon as he left, the second and third masters of the Su family became restless. As soon as Su Wanfu left, they immediately joined forces and began to control some of the Su family's businesses. Wang Zhong saw all of this, but as a small guard, he couldn't change anything. In fact, he originally wanted to go with Su Wanfu, but when he received the news, Su Wanfu and his group had already left the Su family. He didn't know the route, so he could only wait at home. Su Wanfu was gone for half a year. Half a year later, Su Wanfu returned with half of his men and horses, looking as if he had lost his soul. Wang Zhong finally received the news. Su Liying couldn't be found, and the Tianshan sect was suppressed by the enemy. Countless masters of the sect were killed or injured. Now, they were struggling at death's door. The disciples in the sect either fled or ran away. In the blink of an eye, the Tianshan sect went from a second-rate sect to a small sect. With Su Liying's disappearance, Su Wanfu's status plummeted. It was very simple. Such a big family valued ability and talent. If you couldn't bring benefits to the family, you were useless. Therefore, at the end of the year, the second and third masters began to make trouble. Now, the second master's son and daughter were taken in by other sections. The third master's son and daughter benefited from the introduction of the second master's son and daughter and also entered a big sect. All of a sudden, the status of these two people in the Su family rose. At the end of the year, great-grandmother, who had one foot in the grave, finally announced that Su Wanfu would abdicate and that the second-in-command, Su Ziqian, would take over as the head of the family. Su Wanfu was a hot-tempered person to begin with. When he heard this news, he slammed the table and turned hostile on the spot. Su Wanfu didn't expect Su Ziqian to come up with two punches. Su Wanfu was immediately knocked to the ground, unable to fight back at all. From this, it could be seen that Su Wanfu's strength was already inferior to Su Ziqian's. After that, Su Wanfu completely lost his power. Not only him, but even his son Su Zhangyan's cultivation resources were also deducted. In the second year, they were not distributed at all. The reason was that their talents were too weak, and giving them these cultivation resources would be a waste. Su Wanfu was very angry, but there was nothing he could do. Originally, Wang Zhong thought that the other party would not do anything. Unexpectedly, when he was 19 years old, his great-grandmother finally died of illness. With the death of his great-grandmother, no one could suppress the second-in-command, Su Ziqian. Soon, Su Wanfu's faction was suppressed. Even Wang Zhong had started to be targeted by people. The reason was very simple. Everyone knew that Wang Zhong and Su Liying were close. Since that was the case, they naturally wouldn't be polite to Wang Zhong. That night, Wang Zhong found Su Wanfu and prepared to leave the Su family. "Uncle Su, I'm ready to leave." Wang Zhong had a lot of luggage with him, all of which were food and clothes. After finding Su Wanfu, he explained the purpose of his visit. "Tell me the place where young Miss went missing. It'll be easier for me to find her." Su Wanfu looked at Wang Zhong excitedly. "Are you really going? That place is extremely dangerous, and there are many strong people there. Back then, even I lost a lot of people there. It's better to go than not. No matter how many strong people there are, they won't kill people casually, right?" Wang Zhong said, "When the time comes, I'll just keep a low profile." Good. Chen Ping, I didn't expect you to be on our side at the last moment." Su Wanfu was very gratified. Then, he drew a map and handed it to Wang Zhong. After Wang Zhong put it away, Su Wanfu said solemnly, "To be honest, I'm also planning to leave here. When the time comes, we'll go together." "Uncle Su, why do you want to leave too?" Wang Zhong was puzzled. "After great-grandmother died, my two brothers became more and more overboard. If I stay here, I'll only be bullied, so I plan to leave. When the time comes, I'll bring a few of my subordinates with me. We'll go to the imperial capital together and look for Liying." "Okay." Just as they were talking, the door was suddenly kicked open. A group of people walked in, led by the current head of the Su family, Su Ziqian. Beside Su Ziqian was the third head, Su Wanyong. Su Ziqian smiled faintly and shouted, "Men, arrest my big brother and this slave." "Su Ziqian, what do you want?" Su Wanfu's expression changed. Su Ziqian said, "Big brother, I know about your matter. You stole the family's treasures and pills and want to leave here, right?" "These things are all mine." Su Wanfu said. "Yours?" "I heard that you secretly brought people to steal things from the warehouse." "Who said that? How dare you frame me?" Su Ziqian waved his hand and a dark-skinned man was brought forward. "Chen Fu, speak." This Chen Fu was Su Wanfu's previous housekeeper. He took care of the Su family's affairs for Su Wanfu. Chen Fu had obviously been beaten up. He walked forward timidly and said, I saw Master Su Wanfu enter the Su family's warehouse last night and steal things." Su Wanfu's expression changed greatly. "Chen Fu, you dare frame me?" Chen Fu lowered his head, not daring to speak. Wang Zhong suddenly realized that Su Ziqian and Su Wanyong were indeed ruthless. Even at this point, they still wanted to kill Su Wanfu. Su Ziqian said, "Big brother, surrender. I promise I'll spare your life." "Haha, Su Ziqian, if I surrender, I'm afraid I'll be crippled by you immediately. Get out of the way. At most, I don't want those treasures. Let me leave." Su Ziqian shook his head slightly. "If that's the case, how can I convince the masses in the future?" As he said that, Su Ziqian reached out his hand and prepared to make a move. Su Wanfu took the lead and shouted, "Chen Ping, you run first." Wang Zhong did not stand on ceremony. His strength was low, so he naturally ran first. He then rushed out of the window. Unexpectedly, A few bodyguards had been waiting for a long time. They rushed forward and blocked Wang Zhong's path. These people's strength was about the same as Wang Zhong's. Although Wang Zhong's skills were much stronger than theirs, it was still difficult for two fists to fight against four hands. In the blink of an eye, he was at a disadvantage and was beaten to the ground. As for Su Wanfu, after barely blocking a few moves, his chest was smashed by Su Zetian's palm. He fell to the ground, his life and death unknown. "Bring them all to the cell," Su Zetian said. "Yes." Wang Zhong clutched his chest and was dragged by two guards to the Su family's underground prison. This was a place that belonged to the Su family. There was only one entrance and exit, and there was no sunlight all year round. It was dark and damp, emitting a moldy smell. At this moment, Wang Zhong was very anxious and did not know what to do. "Strength, I'm still too weak. Although I've been cultivating diligently, my talent is too weak." Wang Zhong sighed with emotion, clenching his fists tightly. He felt somewhat helpless. After that, Wang Zhong noticed that there were quite a few people imprisoned here. Most of them were from Su Wanfu's faction. Other than that, there were some disobedient people from the Su family. When these people were locked up, they had obviously been beaten up. Their bodies were covered in wounds, and many of them had even fainted. "All of you, behave yourselves. Otherwise, don't blame us for being impolite," the fiendish guard said fiercely as he locked the door and left. In the following days, Wang Zhong and these people were locked up and never allowed to leave. Although he had lost his freedom, Wang Zhong never gave up on leaving this place. He had been looking for a way to leave this place. He did not neglect his cultivation either. During the day, he secretly sat down cross-legged and cultivated the unstoppable divine technique. At night, he practiced martial arts alone in the prison. At the same time, he was also thinking about a detail in this game. According to the mission prompt, the Su family would be in a big crisis. This might be what it was referring to. In this crisis, he would obtain the Su family's biggest secret. This game is a little strange. It's as if they knew this would happen. But, how did I get the Su family's secret? Wang Zhong was not a person who would sit and wait for death. Unable to figure it out, he observed the guard's resting time and decided to leave at 2 o'clock in the morning. "I must leave as soon as possible. Many people have died here." At night again, Wang Zhong said to Su Wanfu, who was staying next to him. At this time, Su Wanfu was extremely weak. He said seriously, "I have less than 10% of my strength left. Chen Ping, you are still young. You must find a way to leave." Wang Zhong touched the chains on the prison cell and nodded slightly. He had already thought of a plan. Later, he would pretend to have a stomachache and let the guard in. As soon as the guard came in, he would launch a sneak attack. However, before the plan could be carried out, the entrance in front of him suddenly opened and a group of guards walked in. The guards carried Su Wanfu out. Wang Zhong quickly asked, "Where are you taking him?" The guard said coldly, "Since you have said so, I will tell you. Eldest young master has returned from the power sect and taught us a set of vigorous fist. In the future, you will be our training tools." "What do you mean?" Su Wanfu asked, but the guards stopped talking and took him out. Soon, Su Wanfu's screams came from outside. When they came back, Su Wanfu was on the verge of death. "Chen Ping, you must find a way to leave." Su Wanfu's energy center had been shattered and he gradually lost his breath on the spot. Su Wanfu had actually been beaten to death. I don't want to die." Not far away, Su Wanfu's son, Su Jingyan, was so scared that he wet himself. Wang Zhong furrowed his brows. He didn't expect that things would suddenly become so complicated. Originally, he had overheard that eldest young Master Su Can had returned recently and many guards were transferred to protect him. This was a good time to sneak out. However, from the noise outside, it seemed that someone was training outside. Damn it, they moved the martial arts field here. Wang Zhong had a headache. It was impossible to carry out the plan. Early the next morning, Su Zhengyan was dragged out. "Let's go," Eldest young master wants to personally demonstrate the moves of the vigorous fist. You are in luck, ha ha ha. A few guards laughed and dragged Su Jingyan out. Wang Zhong was also driven out by the guards. Hurry up, damn it. If you anger eldest young master, you will have to bear the consequences. At this moment, the sky was still dark and it was a little cold outside. It seemed that the weather was turning to autumn. This was the first time in a long time that Wang Zhong came out. He suddenly felt that the air outside was very delicious. If it were not for the group of fierce people standing in front of him, this would be a very beautiful place. Unfortunately, there were too many corpses. Not far away, there were at least 7 corpses piled up. Wang Zhong's eyesight was good. He could see that the corpses were all beaten until their bones were broken. A few of them even had their heads caved in. Soon, Wang Zhong, Su Zhengyan, and 3 other people who were brought out came in front of dozens of Su family disciples in black robes. These Su family disciples all looked exceptionally valiant. They stood in a row and sneered as they looked at Wang Zhong and the others. Physique cultivators. Looking at the state of these people, Wang Zhong could tell at a glance that they were all physique cultivators. Thinking about it, Wang Zhong had heard that the Su family's eldest son, Su Can, had been chosen by the power sect and became an inner disciple. The power sect was a mid-level sect. The disciples in the sect were all physique cultivators. Their brute strength could split mountains and rocks. They were very powerful. It seems that Su Can really brought the physique cultivation method to the Su family. Does the power sect not care? Wang Zhong secretly guessed. Just as he was wondering why they were brought here and what was going on with the corpses, a servant shouted in a duck-like voice, "The eldest son is here." The group of Su family disciples all stood up straight to welcome Su Can. Wang Zhong looked over and narrowed his eyes. Su Can, the eldest son of the current Su family head, Su Zetian. In the past, this person had shown some talent in martial arts. If not for Su Liying's appearance, Su Can would definitely be the first in the Su family's younger generation. After Su Liying's rise, Su Can left the Su family and went out to train. It was obvious that this Su Can, whether it was his temperament or personality, was very calm. When dealing with enemies, when the enemy was strong, he would quietly lie dormant, waiting for a fatal blow at any time. Su Can stood in front of Su Zhengyan and looked at the former eldest son. Su Can smiled and said, "Brother Zhengyan, long time no see. You've lost a lot of weight." Su Can, let me go. My father was killed by you, my sister is missing. Please let me go. I'm still a member of the Su family. Su Zhengyan was actually begging for mercy. At the same time, the group of prisoners behind him also knelt and begged Su Can to let them go. Only Wang Zhong was still standing there, looking at Su Can calmly. This made Su Can interested. He said, "I remember you. When you were young, you often played with Sister Liying. When I asked you about Sister Liying, you refused to tell me even when I gave you money. You're really loyal." Chapter 793. Faced with Su Can's question, Wang Zhong replied calmly, "Strictly speaking, I'm not a member of the Su family. Su Liying and I are just friends. No matter what your relationship is, I'll give you one condition. Be my slave and I'll let you go." Su Can looked at Wang Zhong and smiled. He enjoyed seeing his former enemy kneeling in front of him and begging for mercy. It gave him a comfortable sense of accomplishment. Unfortunately, he was destined to fail. Wang Zhong shook his head. "Then you'll be disappointed." To Wang Zhong, he would just restart the game if he died. He would not kneel and become a slave. What made Wang Zhong speechless was that Su Zhengyan actually hugged Su Can's leg. "I'll be your slave. Let me go." Wang Zhong closed his eyes. This kid was spoiled when he was young. He had no backbone. Bang! Su Can kicked Su Zhengyan away and pointed at Wang Zhong. "Good, you've got guts. I like people with guts like you. Don't worry, I won't kill you so quickly. I'll torture you slowly." "Ha ha ha, Su Can's tone suddenly changed as he shouted to the group of Su family disciples. Next, I'll show you the true secret art of the strength sect. The last form of the strength fist, penetrating fist. Watch. The most important thing to learn this fist technique is to familiarize yourself with the human body. These slaves of the Su family are the best targets to practice on. At this moment, Wang Zhong understood. Everything was clear. Letting them live was not because the Su family was being merciful, but because they were targets to practice on. The human body was complex. If one wanted to improve the technique quickly, it would take a long time to learn it. However, if one used it to practice, the improvement would be fast. One could learn the weaknesses of the human body and the meridians through practice. In the future, one would be able to use it freely when facing an enemy. Su Can suddenly pointed at Su Zhengyan. I'll choose you. Su Zhengyan's expression changed and he knelt on the spot. No, let me go. Su Can didn't listen at all. After the numerous Su family disciples pushed him away, he clenched his hands into fists and assumed the stance of the vigorous fist. His right hand clenched into a fist, and a faint white light flashed over it. Su Zhengyan kept begging Su Can for mercy. He even said that he wanted to be Su Can's dog. However, Su Zhengyan didn't know that the softer you were to Su Can, the more he despised you. On the contrary, he would only value you if you were as tough as Wang Zhong. Su Zhengyan was too young to know that. He kept retreating in the face of Su Can's fists. Vigorous fist. Su Can moved his feet and punched out. He was actually a few meters away from Su Zhengyan, but the wind generated by his punch directly penetrated Su Zhengyan's chest. Pooh! Su Zhengyan's stomach cracked like a watermelon. Then, Su Zhengyan flew out and landed on the ground, motionless. That punch ended Su Zhengyan's life right away. Eldest young master is amazing. He's amazing. That's the power of the vigorous fist. If only I could learn it. Su Zhengyan was dead, but the others didn't care. Instead, they were all amazed by the power of Su Can's move. Many of them began to flatter Su Can. Su Can was also very satisfied with his punch. He smiled and looked at Wang Zhong. Wang Zhong furrowed his brows. If this punch landed on his body, he would definitely die. Hee, you seem to be a little stronger than Su Zhengyan. I can tell. Let's see how strong you are. Su Can walked in front of Wang Zhong and patted Wang Zhong's shoulder slightly. Then, he punched Wang Zhong in the stomach. The punch was obviously not as powerful as before, but it still made Wang Zhong take a few steps back. Thud, thud, thud. Wang Zhong took a few steps back. He suddenly tasted something sweet and spat out a mouthful of blood. This person is indeed powerful. Even a casual punch is so powerful. Wang Zhong was secretly surprised. Fortunately, Su Can didn't want to end Wang Zhong just like that. He waved his hand and ordered the disciples to use the slaves for training. Then, there were wails and screams in the field. Wang Zhong was targeted by a burly man. He rubbed his fists and punched Wang Zhong in the ribs. Bang, bang, bang. Wang Zhong's hands were tied behind his back and he couldn't move at all. He could only be trampled on. Just like that, he endured one punch after another until his face was covered in blood. Finally, night fell. The group of people were thrown into the dungeon with injuries all over their bodies. Hiss, hiss, hiss. Wang Zhong felt the injuries on his body and felt excruciating pain. He had never experienced such injuries before. This is medicine for your injuries. Use it yourself. A guard threw a cloth bag and turned to leave. To the Su family, although the slaves were worse than dogs, they were still very useful as human punching bags. Naturally, they wouldn't let Wang Zhong and the others die casually. Wang Zhong didn't throw away the medicine. He opened the cloth bag and began to apply the medicine. This medicine wasn't anything good. It could only relieve the pain and slightly speed up the recovery of the injuries. However, it wasn't enough for Wang Zhong's serious injuries. However, there wasn't anything good at the moment. He could only make do. If this goes on, I will be beaten to death. Wang Zhong thought as he applied the medicine. He urgently wanted to leave this place. However, there were more guards than before. How could he leave? It was impossible. After thinking about it, he looked at his ribs. It could be seen that his ribs were definitely broken. So it was very painful. What should I do now? Wang Zhong clenched his fists. He could still endure the flesh wounds. However, if it was the bones, it would be troublesome. After thinking about it, Wang Zhong decided to leave tonight. Although he might die, there was no other way. Compared to staying here and being beaten to death, it was better to leave early. After making up his mind, Wang Zhong began to pretend to be asleep. He began to cultivate the crushing decay divine technique, calming himself down. However, after cultivating for a while, his eyes focused. Something's wrong. Wang Zhong touched his ribs. He felt that when he cultivated the destructive divine skill, his broken ribs seemed to be healing rapidly. This divine skill seems to be healing my injuries. Wang Zhong was stunned. He immediately realized that he seemed to have found something extraordinary. The Su family's biggest secret is probably this destructive divine skill. Wang Zhong was overjoyed. He recalled that Su Liying had told him that this unstoppable divine technique was the strongest technique in the Su family. This skill was extremely powerful. However, the strange thing was that other than the Su family's ancestor who was able to cultivate to the martial grandmaster level, none of the other Su family members had been able to cultivate it. Why was that? After thinking about it carefully, it was simple. The Su family's ancestor was able to cultivate it successfully because the situation was similar to his. Both of them were seriously injured. In other words, in order to cultivate the destructive divine skill, one's body must be seriously injured. This was the so-called, without destruction, there can be no construction. No wonder the previous Su family members were unable to cultivate it successfully. They lived a life of luxury. How could they suffer this kind of hardship? I was able to cultivate it because of a great opportunity. Wang Zhong was overjoyed and began to concentrate on cultivating. The destructive divine skill began to operate. He felt that there were small tadpoles circulating throughout his body. Wherever these small tadpoles passed, his injuries quickly began to heal. Even his ribs were healing quickly. Furthermore, Wang Zhong discovered that the healed parts of his body had become stronger. This discovery made Wang Zhong overjoyed. I understand. Every time I heal, my body's strength will be strengthened. This huge discovery made Wang Zhong stunned. This was because he quickly realized how powerful this cultivation technique was. Every time his body was damaged, it was a strengthening. At this moment, Wang Zhong suddenly didn't want to leave. Didn't these people want to use him as a human punching bag? Come on, attack me with all your might. Every attack is a tempering for me. Soon, the injuries on his body were almost healed. However, as his injuries healed, Wang Zhong felt unusually hungry. This was the aftereffect of cultivation. At this moment, a mouse quickly crawled past. There were many mice and cockroaches in this dungeon. Wang Zhong's eyes were sharp and his hands were fast. He quickly grabbed the mouse and started to eat. Although it was a bit dirty, it could quickly fill his stomach. Now, food was the capital for Wang Zhong to quickly recover. After eating the mouse, Wang Zhong ate all the cockroaches on the ground. Fortunately, it was dark now. The servants on the side didn't see this scene. Otherwise, they would have thought that Wang Zhong was crazy. In the morning, just like yesterday, after Wang Zhong and others ate breakfast, they were taken out. The disciples of the Su family had long been cultivating outside. They were very hard-working in their cultivation. Their upper bodies were bare as they attacked the boulders one after another. The boulders were hard. Every time they attacked them, the boulders would make a roaring sound. Hey, hey, hey. Ha ha ha. The violent sound of practicing martial arts frightened the servants into a panic. They all understood why they were taken out. It was very simple. They were treated as human punching bags and beaten. No, no, let me go. I don't want to die, don't be beaten. Let me go, I am willing to do anything. No one paid attention to these voices. In other words, a servant's life was not comparable to a dog's. The Su family's disciples sneered. Each of them was assigned a servant to prepare for training. The guard captain, Su Liqui, with his hands behind his back, shouted, "When you attack these servants, remember their vital points and weaknesses. Only in this way can you be prepared when facing the enemy in the future. Do you understand?" "Understood." "Very good. Whoever is the first to kill this servant will be rewarded with a great strength pill." The guard captain's words made the Su family's disciples' eyes red. Strength pill. This was a good thing that the eldest young master brought from the strength sect. After eating one, their strength would double. In the future, they would definitely stand out among their peers. Although the Su family's disciples were excited, the opposite servants' faces were green. One by one, they cried for their parents and begged to be let go. Among these servants, perhaps only Wang Zhong didn't take these things to heart. Instead, he was faintly excited. Let the attacks come more fiercely. Let the attacks come in greater numbers. Every tempering is a form of growth for me. At this moment, the person standing in front of Wang Zhong was a short man. However, this short man was abnormally robust, especially his fists, which were completely black. It was very obvious that this person was proficient in fist techniques, and his fists had been trained to be incomparably hard. "Hee, I want to finish you with one punch." The short man clenched his fists and stretched his neck. He was very excited. "The vigorous pill, I must get it. By the way, Chen Ping, I know you. You used to have a good relationship with Miss Su Lying. Unfortunately, the wheel of fortune has changed. Now, you have actually become a servant." Wang Zhong shrugged. "You talk too much nonsense. Hurry up and fight. Don't tell me you didn't eat enough breakfast." Wang Zhong's words made the short man's face change. "Courting death, remember, my name is Su Xing. I will kill you." With that, Su Xing attacked. Seeing Su Xing angry, Wang Zhong was excited. The harder the other party hit, the better. It was a good opportunity to test his strength. Finally, the other party attacked. He was like a wild wolf, quickly leaping over, but his footwork was obviously not methodical. He was just running over randomly. Bang! This punch landed solidly on Wang Zhong's chest. Thump, thump, thump. Wang Zhong took a few steps back. His ribs hurt. He knew that his ribs were indeed broken by this attack. Sure enough, this person's fists were really hard. Wang Zhong thought to himself. However, he quickly began to circulate the crushing force technique in his body. Traces of warmth flowed through his body like small tadpoles. This crushing force technique is really domineering. It is worthy of being the top divine technique of the Su family. In just a short while, Wang Zhong's ribs had mostly recovered, and the pain had also disappeared. Now, the strength of his ribs was even harder and stronger than before. Therefore, Wang Zhong quickly crawled to his feet. He smiled, very happily. He stared at Su Xing and said, "Your fists are too tender. You really haven't eaten." Su Xing's expression changed. He had used 100% of his strength in that punch. After all, with the reward of the vigorous pill, he didn't hold back at all. However, this guy actually didn't fall after such a blow. Damn, his body's defense was so strong. "You're courting death." Su Xing was furious. He rushed over and threw a few more punches, followed by a few more kicks. Wang Zhong was like a human sandbag, allowing him to kick and hit as he wished. Bang! Once again, Wang Zhong landed on the ground. He wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and was very excited. Because his injuries were recovering rapidly, he could guarantee that he would be fully recovered in 3 minutes. However, this time, he didn't stand up. It was very simple. If he could still stand up after being beaten like this, it would be too conspicuous. He wasn't strong enough to be unbeatable yet, so he wanted to keep a low profile. Su Xing finally smiled. "Get up." "You can't get up, right?" Wang Zhong vomited blood. He didn't seem to be in a good condition. But in fact, in such a short period of time, his injuries had almost healed. Wang Zhong was beaten like this, not to mention the other servants. They were all beaten to the point of crying for their parents. A few of them were even beaten to death. Take them down. Su Liqui waved his hand. As he spoke, he looked at Wang Zhong and raised his eyebrows. This kid is actually still breathing. Su Xing, did your technique deteriorate? Chapter 794. Su Xing was embarrassed by his captain's words. He quickly came over and said, "Captain, I've been training hard every day. I don't dare to slack off." Then with your strength, you should be able to finish off that kid with one punch. Even if you can't, you should at least be able to injure him. But looking at him just now, he can still walk on his own. Su Xing, you didn't use all your strength, right? Su Xing said in a panic. No, of course I used all my strength. I don't know what happened either. Maybe that Chen Ping is lucky, but I can confirm that he was indeed injured just now. That's because you hit him so many times. You better reflect on yourself here. As punishment, you won't be able to eat lunch today. Wang Zhong didn't know what was going on outside. At this moment, he was sitting cross-legged and recovering from his injuries. His injuries were mostly healed, and this kind of state was mesmerizing. Take it. A few guards walked in and threw in some healing medicine and food. Can you give me more food? Wang Zhong asked weakly. The guard said, "You're injured to this extent, yet you can still eat." "Yes, please, for the sake of my injuries." Wang Zhong continued to pretend to be weak. The main reason was that this cultivation method of his consumed a lot of food. Every time he practiced, he would be hungry. The guards didn't want to interfere at first, but Wang Zhong said, "You don't want me to starve to death, right? If I die, you'll be punished for not taking care of me. So, you don't want me to die for no reason, right?" Hearing this, the guards looked at each other in dismay. Forget it. Give him 2 more steamed buns." After throwing down a few steamed buns, the guards left. Wang Zhong ate and his body recovered even faster. Late at night, he punched the wall. Suddenly, a small crack appeared on the wall. This made Wang Zhong's expression light up. One had to know that this was the result of him only using 70% of his strength. If he used more, it would be even more frightening. The progress of my cultivation in the past 2 days is comparable to everything I've done before. Wang Zhong roughly analyzed the situation and started to beat his own body. This time, he cultivated for an entire night. In just a short period of time, he felt that his strength had increased by quite a bit. According to the classification of martial artists, he had clearly entered the martial warrior level. Aside from Su Liang, there was probably no one else in the entire Su family who was a warrior under the age of 20. This was strength. It was finally morning again. Wang Zhong smiled when he saw the prison door open again. He realized that he was looking forward to being beaten up. This time, the number of people brought out was much smaller. Many of them were even wearing heavy leather armor. There was nothing they could do about it. After a few days of fighting, they found that too many servants had died. Some people were worried that if they continued to die like this, there would be no one left, so they put on some defensive equipment to reduce the death rate. Wang Zhong, on the other hand, had no one to let him wear it. This was specially ordered by Su Xing. He wanted to ruthlessly beat Wang Zhong to death. "Come and hit me. Although I was injured yesterday, I'm not afraid of being hit by you." Wang Zhong continued to provoke Su Xing. Su Xing roared, "Just you wait." He rushed forward and attacked again. Pang pang pang. Wang Zhong kept groaning. Finally, he fell to the ground again. The next day, Wang Zhong roared again, "Kill me if you can." Ah! Su Xing used all his strength and attacked with all his might. This time, the attack lasted much longer than the last time. Wang Zhong flew out and fell to the ground. It was unknown whether he was alive or dead. What made Su Xing depressed was that Wang Zhong recovered on the 3rd day. After that, the people who practiced martial arts rested for a few days. A week later, they started training again. Pang pang pang. Countless attacks fell on Wang Zhong's body. Wang Zhong found that Su Xing's attacks could no longer cause any damage to him. Did you not eat? Harder, harder, I can take it. Weak, you're too weak, Wang Zhong shouted. He was not going to hide anything. Now that he wanted to leave, no one could stop him. But he did not leave. Very simple, he was waiting. He was waiting for the Su family's eldest young master, Su Can, to come, kill him, and then leave. Su Can's death would be a heavy blow to the Su family. For more than a month, Wang Zhong was beaten up almost every day. On the surface, it looked like he was seriously injured, but in reality, he was fine. Some disciples were only curious about Wang Zhong's recovery ability, but that was it. No one would investigate the physical condition of a servant. Now, Wang Zhong found a very important problem. That was, these servants' attacks were no longer effective. If Su Can still doesn't come, I'll have to find him myself. Wang Zhong thought to himself. To his surprise, 3 days later, news came that Su Can had left the Su family and went to the power sect. Hearing this news, Wang Zhong sighed. It seemed that he was one step too late. But soon, more news came. Su Can's younger brother, Su Ji, had returned. He would show everyone another secret technique of the power sect. Su Can and Su Ji were half-brothers. However, Su Ji was very sensible and listened to Su Can's words since he was young. Therefore, the relationship between the two brothers was not bad. Usually, Su Can would take care of Su Ji. Is Su Ji coming? Wang Zhong sat in the prison and listened to the conversation of the guards. The corner of his mouth curled up slightly. If that guy really comes, I can make a move. If I can't kill Su Can, I'll kill Su Ji first and collect interest. After making up his mind, Wang Zhong began to recuperate. He planned to kill Su Ji first, then go to the Su family to kill a few people to collect interest. After that, he would leave this place and go to the imperial capital. Su Liying went missing in the imperial capital. There must be news of her. On the other hand, almost all the major sects in the country were gathered there, including the power sect. Find Su Can, who was going to the power sect, and get rid of him. This was Wang Zhong's next plan. That night, Wang Zhong almost didn't sleep because he knew that tomorrow would be the day the Su family would pay with blood. The next day, Su Ji came early in the morning. As the second young master of the Su family, Su Ji could be said to be in high spirits. Today, in addition to teaching the power sect, he also took the time to check on the training of the Su family's disciples. Now that he had entered the martial soldier realm, his strength was not bad in this place. Therefore, he was very arrogant. He raised his head and looked at Wang Zhong's group of servants and said indifferently, "Why are you all covered in scars?" In reply to the second young master, "These servants are beaten every day, so most of them are injured." "Well, they're too weak. Look, they can't live. Kill them all. Anyway, soon, there will be a group of servants coming." "Yes." Hearing this, the group of servants suddenly panicked. "Second young master, spare my life, spare my life. Don't kill me, woo-woo." Ha. Su Ji suddenly noticed Wang Zhong. Because among so many people, only Wang Zhong was expressionless and did not show any signs of fear. Most importantly, he was in good condition and did not seem to be injured at all. He just looked dirty. "What's your name?" "Chen Ping," Wang Zhong said in a neither servile nor overbearing manner. "Chen Ping." Su Ji suddenly remembered, "You're the one who was close to Su Liying when she was young." "Yes, what can I do for you?" Wang Zhong said. "Ha ha ha, you don't seem to be afraid of me." Wang Zhong said, "Yes, because I realized that your Su family people don't seem to have enough to eat after beating me." Wang Zhong's blunt words made Su Ji's eyes narrow. "Damn it, you're courting death. I'll beat you up." Su Xing, who had been hitting Wang Zhong, walked out. Slap. Unexpectedly, Su Ji directly threw a slap at Su Xing, hitting Su Xing until Su Xing saw stars. "Second young master, you..." Su Xing's face was full of disbelief. He did not understand why the second young master suddenly hit him. "Useless thing, you didn't hurt him at all after beating him for so long. You're really useless. In the future, you'll go to the mining team." The Su family's mining team was the most difficult and tiring job. Going there meant that there was no future. Su Xing's face turned pale and he quickly begged for mercy. But Su Ji did not care about a villain. He shook his fist and rushed toward Wang Zhong without saying a word. Vigorous fist. With a light shout, he punched Wang Zhong in the stomach. Wang Zhong puffed out his chest and took the blow head-on. Wang Zhong, who was expected to fly backward, did not fly out at all. Instead, he stood still in the same place. This made Su Ji stunned and somewhat in disbelief. Patting his chest, Wang Zhong replied with an indifferent look on his face. "How boring. Can you use more strength?" "Damn it!" Su Ji was furious. He increased his strength and punched. Bang bang. After 2 consecutive punches, Su Ji thought to himself that it would be strange if you didn't die. In fact, Wang Zhong was still motionless. Over the past few days, Wang Zhong's body's resistance to pressure had reached an extremely terrifying state. Not only did Su Ji's attack not injure Wang Zhong in the slightest, it even created quite a bit of warmth in his body, causing Wang Zhong to feel incomparably comfortable. This feeling was really too good. It was simply the best way to train him. If it were not for the fact that these people were weak and could not cause any damage to him, Wang Zhong would probably want to stay here for a while longer. Su Ji was stunned. Even the group of people at the side began to whisper to each other. Su Ji felt humiliated. He was the second young master, and now he could not even beat a servant. Wouldn't it be a joke if this spread out? In an instant, he went crazy and rushed in front of Wang Zhong, punching and kicking, swearing that he would beat Wang Zhong to the ground. He even had the intention to kill. Only by using Wang Zhong's blood could he wash away his humiliation. Kicks, punches, slashes. Countless fierce attacks rained down like raindrops. Wang Zhong was still using the Su family's top-secret technique, the crushing rotten cultivation method. This cultivation method was really magical. So many attacks that were fatal to ordinary people, when they landed on Wang Zhong's body, they all turned into strength that improved his body's constitution. Unfortunately, the Su family did not know this. In fact, it was indeed so. The Su family had been passed down for so many years. Although this cultivation method had always been mysterious, other than the Su family's ancestor, no one had ever reached the martial grandmaster realm. Over time, many people raised doubts. They felt that the ancestor had relied on his own talent to reach the martial grandmaster realm. Because of this, the Su family's descendants were not very enthusiastic about cultivating this cultivation method. Haha, good. The second young master is indeed the second young master. I feel so good when you hit me. The strength of your attacks is much stronger than those dogs of yours. Come, use more strength. Too light. Did you not eat? Use your strongest attack. Don't be afraid to kill me. Your attacks are too weak for me. Ha. Wang Zhong continued to provoke Su Ji. Su Ji's attitude gradually changed from anger to disbelief, and then to doubt himself, and finally, to fear. That's right, he was afraid of Wang Zhong. Think about it, Wang Zhong did not even fight back, and he was already unable to do anything to Wang Zhong. If Wang Zhong made a move, how could he survive? More importantly, Wang Zhong's gaze. It was a mocking and contemptuous gaze. What did this gaze mean? It was obvious that he was mocking him. Everything he was doing now was to play with him. This guy was not afraid of him at all. Thinking of this, Su Ji steeled his heart and suddenly took out a medicine bottle. Wang Zhong narrowed his eyes. After being in the Su family for so long, he naturally knew some people's personalities. If the eldest young master, Su Kan, belonged to the arrogant and condescending type, then Su Ji was a sinister and vicious villain. The thing he took out at this time was definitely not something good. Therefore, the moment he took it out, Wang Zhong became alert. He was not going to hold back anymore. At this critical moment, Wang Zhong moved and arrived in front of Su Ji. "I've been beating you for so long. Now, let's change." Wang Zhong punched out with his vigorous fist. That's right, he was using the vigorous fist. After being beaten with the vigorous fist for so long, Wang Zhong had already grasped the essence of it. Right now, he was giving them a taste of their own medicine. Bang! One punch. Su Ji's chest exploded with a sound like beans being fried. Then, his whole body flew out. In the blink of an eye, Wang Zhong pulled Su Ji back and laughed. "You want to run? I won't let you. Stay here today. This day next year will be the anniversary of your death." Bang bang. Another 2 vigorous fists. However, in Su Ji's body, there were several explosive sounds. Finally, Su Ji fell to the ground. He was not going to live. Second young master. Second young master is dead. The whole place was silent. Who would have thought that the servant Chen Ping, who had been beaten up all this time, would explode with such strength? This bastard dared to kill the second young master. "Men, take him down." When the guard captain, Su Liqui, arrived, it was too late. When he saw that the second young master's eyes had turned white, he roared and rushed over. Su Liqui's strength was not weak either. However, he was about the same as the second young master. At this moment, he was so angry that he ignored the gap between him and Wang Zhong. What responded to him was naturally Wang Zhong's iron fist. The terrifying strength made Su Liqui's expression change. What made him more desperate was that his attack was like a tickle to Wang Zhong. It had no effect at all. Weak, too weak. Die. The terrifying strength poured into Wang Zhong's body. Then, he punched out. Chapter 795. Su Liqui flew out and smashed into the ground. He wanted to stand up and continue fighting, but he felt a pain in his chest and blood spurted out. What a powerful move! Su Liqui was shocked. If this guy were to start a massacre, no one here would be able to stop him. Go back and report to the family. Su Liqui quickly shouted. Go and shout. Today, I will start a massacre. Wang Zhong narrowed his eyes and quickly flashed over. He looked at Su Liqui and stepped on him. Su Liqui died. You got off too easy. Wang Zhong shook his head. Su Liqui had abused the servants many times. Now that he was killed so easily, it was indeed too easy for him. Go, kill him. The others hurriedly shouted. However, most of them knew that their strength was low, so they turned around and ran, preparing to report the situation to the Su family. Die. Wang Zhong looked at the few people who usually liked to flaunt their strength and were abnormally arrogant. He used all of his methods and beat them until they screamed miserably. In the blink of an eye, there were only corpses left in the large field. Most of the Su family disciples had fled. Only a few servants were left standing. They trembled as they looked at Wang Zhong. Let's all leave this place. Wang Zhong untied their ropes and said. The servants knelt down and thanked him before leaving one by one. Next, it's time to collect the interest. Wang Zhong looked at the direction where the Su family came from. At this moment, a figure rushed out of the forest. The third head of the Su family, Su Wanyong. Su Wanyong was on his way here to see how Su Ji's martial arts was. He did not expect that halfway through, a few guards would run over in a panic and say that Su Ji was dead. This matter was big. He shook off a group of servants and rushed over. After seeing Wang Zhong, Su Wanyong's eyes turned green. It's you, you little thief. Su Wanyong, I wanted to find you personally, but since you came here yourself, that's good. Su Wanyong's strength was not high. He was only a beginner martial master. It was only because he was close to the second master, Su Zetian, that he was able to gain some status in the Su family. However, even though he was a beginner martial master, Wang Zhong was still a martial warrior. There was a difference of a major realm between the two. The others would probably have long run away at this time. But Wang Zhong didn't run. It was very simple. Since the other party was so powerful, he could use his strength to temper himself. Humph, do you think that you can threaten me just because you're a martial soldier? Su Wanyong could see that Wang Zhong was now in the martial soldier realm. Otherwise, Su Ji and Su Liqui would not have died at his hands. He clasped his hands behind his back and said, "You evil remnant. Back then, eldest young master found you interesting, so he spared your life. I didn't expect to raise a tiger and invite calamity. Today, I will get rid of you and hang your head in front of my Su family's door to let others know the price of offending my Su family." Su Wanyong held a long sword in his hand, looking majestic. As soon as he finished speaking, he attacked Wang Zhong. Although he was very strong now, Wang Zhong knew his own limits, and that was that he probably still couldn't take on weapons head-on. Therefore, he quickly dodged the long sword. Su Wanyong snorted and kicked him. Faced with this kick, Wang Zhong naturally didn't dodge. Instead, he took the blow head-on and flew out. After landing, Wang Zhong spat out a mouthful of blood. The martial master realm was indeed terrifying. However, to Wang Zhong, this blow only made him look very weak on the surface. In fact, as he circulated the destruction technique, his injuries were rapidly recovering. Soon, not only was he not injured, but his defense had also increased by a level. I'm probably at the peak of a martial warrior now. This destruction technique is indeed magical. No wonder the Su family's ancestor could advance to a martial grandmaster. While Wang Zhong was deep in thought, Su Wanyong did not know what he was thinking. He only felt that Wang Zhong would not be able to take more than 3 moves from him in this state. He wanted to cripple him and torture him. Su Wanyong thought very well, so he quickly rushed over. Bang bang! 2 more punches. Wang Zhong forced himself to endure. However, when faced with Su Wanyong's sword, he naturally dodged immediately. In fact, in order to keep Wang Zhong alive so that he could torture him, Su Wanyong did not use a fatal move with his sword. However, he did not expect that after a few rounds, Wang Zhong only looked like he was about to die, but his movements were not restricted at all. Moreover, he felt that Wang Zhong's aura was gradually rising. Martial artists might be able to hide their strength and aura during normal times, but when it came to the end of a fight, it was absolutely impossible to hide one's aura. Therefore, Su Wanyong could feel that Wang Zhong's aura was getting stronger as he fought. This was scary. After fighting for so long, his strength had long been weakened by at least 60%, but his opponent was completely fine. I understand. You must have had a fortuitous encounter during this period, right? Su Wanyong's eyes were like torches. No wonder you didn't lose weight in this dungeon and even advanced. You must have had a fortuitous encounter. Su Wanyong punched out and quickly retreated a few steps. He stopped and continued, "How about this? As long as you tell me about your fortuitous encounter, I can guarantee that you will marry my daughter. Not only that, but I will also make you the second young master of the Su family. You killed Su Ji and Su Liqui, and I will let bygones be bygones." This was a very good gift. One could imagine how bold Su Wanyong was. Unfortunately, Wang Zhong sneered. What a joke. You make it sound like you're giving me a lot of benefits. I wouldn't want your fat daughter even if you gave her to me. Kid, you're courting death. Fine, since you don't know what's good for you, don't blame me for being rude. Su Wanyong was really angry. However, he didn't plan to kill Wang Zhong now because he was sure that Wang Zhong had the secret to becoming stronger. As long as he got it, he would definitely have a breakthrough. At that time, he might even be able to enter the martial grandmaster realm. At the thought of this, his heart burned with passion. He impatiently rushed over and prepared to break Wang Zhong's legs. Then, he would take him to a remote place and slowly interrogate him. His plan was very good, but he didn't expect that in such a short time, Wang Zhong had almost recovered. Not only that, his strength had increased by another level. This time, Su Wanyong was fighting very strenuously. Wang Zhong didn't plan to hold back. A long time had passed and the Su family's main force had definitely arrived. He could deal with 1 or 2 experts, but if a large group of people came, it would be troublesome. Vigorous fist. Just like before, Wang Zhong took the opportunity and punched out. Bang! Su Wanyong had already exhausted too much energy. He was caught off guard and was stunned by the punch. Pooh! Su Wanyong spat out blood and looked aghast. So strong. He didn't dare to stay and turned to run. Wang Zhong laughed. Want to run? It's too late. A moment later, Su Wanyong's chest was shattered and he fell to the ground. In the valley not far away, thick smoke billowed. It was obvious that a large force was rushing here. Looks like the Su family is here. Wang Zhong looked at the dungeon below, shook his head, and rushed down. He came in front of a few pillars and punched a few times. A few cracks appeared on the pillars. If there were any more heavy objects on the ground, this place would collapse. Goodbye, dungeon. After returning to the surface, Wang Zhong turned around to look behind him before leaving. A moment later, the Su family's main force finally arrived. Looking at the corpses all over the ground, as well as the corpses of Su Ji, Su Wanyong, and the others, the head of the family, Su Ziqian, was furious. Chen Ping, my Su family is absolutely irreconcilable with you. As soon as he finished speaking, the ground suddenly collapsed. It turned out that with so many troops coming, the load-bearing pillars of the dungeon were already overwhelmed, so the entire ground collapsed. Countless people were thrown off their feet. Su Ziqian's eyes were sharp and his hands were fast, flying away at the first moment. Looking at the miserable state of his subordinates, Su Ziqian was so angry that he spat out a mouthful of blood. How could he not know that this was definitely Chen Ping's masterpiece, for the sake of delaying their search for him? The dungeon collapsed. Many of the Su family's people should be injured. I'm afraid they won't be able to catch me. At this moment, Wang Zhong was shuttling through the forest. The Su family's address was located in a small town where the Su family had many eyes and ears. He would definitely not run there. Instead, he was preparing to pass through the forest and head to a large city. At that time, he would head in the direction of the imperial capital to find the Tianshan sect where Su Liying had once stayed. I wonder how the Tianshan sect is now. Wang Zhong thought in his heart. As he had not traveled far since he was young, Wang Zhong was not very familiar with this place. At night, he finally saw a light. There should be a village there, and many people were cooking. Wang Zhong touched his stomach. He was indeed very hungry. It couldn't be helped. Although the crushing decay technique was useful, it consumed a lot of energy. In a short period of time, Wang Zhong felt very hungry and urgently wanted to eat something. Fortunately, he had some silver on him. This was what he had found on Su Ji, Su Liqui, and the others before he left. There was a lot of silver, which was enough for him to spend on the way. Following the light, he finally arrived at the village. This village was inside the forest. Sheepskin and wolf pelts were hung on the door of every house. Obviously, the villagers of this village made a living by hunting. There were not many residents here, only a dozen or so. Because it was evening, every family had a fire in their house and was preparing food on the stove. Wang Zhong walked over. It just so happened that an old woman was hanging water from the well in one of the houses. After noticing Wang Zhong, she said in surprise, "Young man, where are you from? I've never seen you before." "Granny, I'm just passing by. I want to ask for a bowl of water," Wang Zhong said politely. Okay. The old woman was kind. She took out the water from the well and poured some for Wang Zhong. "Drink it." "Thank you, Granny." Wang Zhong smiled and said, "They're all cooking." As he spoke, Wang Zhong looked around and thought about buying some food to eat. He was so hungry that he couldn't take it anymore. "Yes, young man, why are you running around outside so late? There are wolves in the forest. They come out at night to eat people. You have to go to the city ahead. It's several kilometers away." Wang Zhong said, "I got lost. Fortunately, I saw the lights here at night, so I came here." "I see." You're not a bandit on the mountain, are you? At this moment, a cold voice came. Wang Zhong looked in the direction of the voice. It was a man in his 40s who spoke. His eyes flashed with shrewdness and he continued, I see that you're young. You're running around in the forest for no reason. You must be inquiring about the news of our village. Let me tell you, I'm a martial soldier. If you want to attack my village, there's no way. Wang Zhong was speechless. It seemed that the law and order of this place was not very peaceful. He was mistaken for a bandit spy just by walking around. Luo Zheng, don't talk nonsense. I see that this young man is travel-worn. He should be passing by. The old woman said kindly. Humph, then why is there blood on his body? He must have killed someone. Luo Zheng pointed at the blood on Wang Zhong's body. Although Wang Zhong washed the blood on his body by the river before coming here, there was still a lot of blood. Facing the accusation, Wang Zhong did not panic. I'm really passing by. As for the blood on my body, it's from some bad people. You killed someone. Luo Zheng glared at Wang Zhong. He had already determined that Wang Zhong was not a good person. When the two of them were talking, other villagers gathered around and looked at Wang Zhong vigilantly. Some of the more radical villagers even held some axes and hoes and stared at Wang Zhong covetously. Is this person a bandit? Damn, last time he robbed so many of our people and all our food. Now he wants to come again? The people in the neighboring village are all dead. It's all done by those damn bandits. The villagers' words made Wang Zhong understand. No wonder they suspected that he was not a good person. It turned out that this place was deeply persecuted by bandits. Everyone, I'm really just passing by. Since you don't believe me, I'll leave immediately. However, before I leave, can you give me something to eat? Wang Zhong said calmly. Following which, he took out a few pieces of silver and said, I'll have to trouble everyone. Seeing that Wang Zhong was so forthright, some people believed him. He's definitely not a bandit. These days, bandits won't be so straightforward. Indeed, everyone look at the silver coins. This is new silver coins. Usually, only rich people use it. A sharp-eyed person said. Being said like this, Luo Zheng believed him a little. You're really passing by, but what are you doing here? I'm here to look for my family. Wang Zhong casually found a reason. To be honest, it's so late. It's not good for you to leave. How about this? Stay at my house for the time being. Luo Zheng suddenly said. After confirming that Wang Zhong was not in danger, Luo Zheng's attitude became much more polite. Then I'll have to trouble you. At this time, Wang Zhong was tired and thirsty. He did not want to run anymore. Then, Wang Zhong went to Luo Zheng's house. Luo Zheng's family of 5 had a mother, a wife, a son, and a daughter. The family was very happy. There was a guest at home. Luo Zheng generously prepared a lot of food for Wang Zhong. Wang Zhong handed over the silver coins. Unexpectedly, Luo Zheng waved his hand and said, Little brother, since you're a guest at my house, why are you giving me silver coins? Are you looking down on me, Luo Zheng? Big brother Luo, I didn't mean that. I just received a favor. Don't say more. I won't accept these. Seeing that Luo Zheng insisted, Wang Zhong could only put away the silver coins. He thought in his heart that when he left, he would leave the silver coins. After eating, Luo Zheng took his son and daughter to the door to practice martial arts. Wang Zhong also saw that this man claimed to be a martial soldier. In fact, he was just a martial disciple. He was not even a martial warrior. The reason why he said that was to scare Wang Zhong. At this moment, a fire suddenly appeared not far away. Not good, a lot of people are coming here. The young man who was on night watch in front ran back and shouted. Chapter 796. Oh no, a lot of people are coming here, shouted the lad who was on night watch. Upon hearing that, Luo Zheng turned his head and glared at Wang Zhong. There's indeed something wrong with you. Did you lead those people here? Wang Zhong said, Brother Luo, think about it. If there was something wrong with me, I would have met up with them by now. Why would I be standing here fighting the enemy with you? That's right. Father, that group of people must have slaughtered the bandits next door. These people are getting bolder. They even dare to come down the mountain. Aren't they afraid that the authorities will wipe them out? Shouted Luo Zheng's son. At that moment, the neighbors ran over, each holding a broadsword. Brother Luo, there seem to be more than 50 people coming. This is troublesome. What should we do? There's no time to report this to the authorities. Luo Zheng said, It's useless. I went out to sell animal skins yesterday. I heard that this group of bandits is related to the Yamen. What? How is that possible? The current county magistrate is in his 80s. I heard that he's obsessed with immortality. A few days ago, a Taoist priest came to the city and said that he could grant him immortality. Then, no one knows what he did. Not long after, bandits appeared. That doesn't seem to be related, right? Someone questioned. Luo Zhang said, apart from robbing, that group of bandits also captured young boys and girls. Some say that they were captured to refine medicine for the Taoist priest. Let's not talk about that for now. Those people are coming. Don't worry. They have a lot of people. We are already prepared. Following that, Wang Zhong saw that the village was surrounded by a bamboo fence. There were only 2 entrances. Some people were holding bows and arrows, ready to shoot. Soon, a large group of horses arrived at the entrance. These people had their faces covered by black cloth as they stared coldly. He did not say a word and waved his hand. The group of people behind him charged in with sabers. Release the arrows. Seeing that the other party did not speak, Luo Zheng immediately shouted. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Arrows were shot out one after another, and quite a number of people fell to the ground. However, there were too many of them. Soon, someone rushed in. Let's fight. Luo Zheng was ready to risk his life. Where's that lad? At that moment, someone noticed that Wang Zhong had disappeared. Don't bother about him. He probably ran away after seeing so many people. Someone sighed. He did not blame Wang Zhong for leaving. After all, the current situation was extremely dangerous. As an outsider, it was normal for him to leave. Why did that brat run out? At this time, someone noticed that Wang Zhong had unknowingly run outside. He saw that Wang Zhong had picked up a broadsword from somewhere and was charging towards the leader of the enemy. This person's face was covered and he was sitting on a horse. Naturally, he saw Wang Zhong charging over. Ignorant brat, how dare you attack me? This person snorted coldly, showing great disdain towards Wang Zhong's arrival. How dare a kid who hasn't even grown his hair? Just as he was thinking, Wang Zhong increased his speed and arrived in front of this person in a flash. Chop! Under his constant training, Wang Zhong's strength had become much stronger than before. Although he was only in the martial soldier realm, compared to many great masters in the martial mentor realm, he was not weak at all. Puff! The person on the horse did not even manage to resist for a moment before he was cut in half. What's going on? Big brother, how are you? Wang Zhong said, I'm already cut in half. What do you think? As soon as he finished speaking, Wang Zhong swept over again. Even the big brother of this group of people was no match for Wang Zhong, not to mention the rest. They were all killed in one move. Many people behind them were killed. The people who rushed in also panicked. They did not know whether to advance or retreat. Soon, they were taken down by the villagers. In the blink of an eye, the remaining 7 or 8 people squatted on the ground with their hands on their heads, not daring to speak. Speak, who sent you? Luo Zheng kicked over a bandit and shouted. This person was so scared that he could not move. He could only say, It's that master. Which master? Wang Zhong asked. I don't dare to say. Everyone present was terrified and didn't dare to say a word. Wang Zhong raised his knife and chopped off the head of the most ruthless person who had just fought. He continued to ask, "If you don't speak, you will end up like this person." Everyone's body trembled, inexplicably terrified. Even Luo Zheng and the others were extremely surprised. They did not expect that Wang Zhong, who looked amiable, would be so ruthless. It was really hard to tell. However, Wang Zhong's actions were indeed very effective. Immediately, the person who was threatened spoke. "It's the dentist." "Dentist? Who is he?" Wang Zhong asked. "He's an expert from the Outlands. He's a grandmaster and has a good relationship with Magistrate Lu. Magistrate Lu is very old and wants to live forever." After the dentist came, Magistrate Lu somehow became acquainted with him. The dentist told Magistrate Lu that his medicinal pills could extend his life by 50 years. "We were originally just bandits in the mountains, but Magistrate Lu ordered us to capture young boys and girls for the dentist to refine medicine. In return, we were to keep all the money we stole. They only wanted the people. Our boss. He agreed. Sir, we were forced to do this. Our boss did all of this to us. We didn't want to." Wang Zhong ignored their pleas and looked at Luo Zheng. Luo Zheng's face was very serious. "It seems that the rumors you said before were true," Wang Zhong said. Luo Zheng nodded. "I never would have guessed that Magistrate Lu would do such a thing. In order to live forever, he didn't hesitate to harm the innocent. He even resorted to murder. I must kill him." Chen Shui looked at the person squatting on the ground and asked, "Let me ask you, what's the level of the dentist?" "I'm not sure. But according to his 2 disciples, he's at the peak of the martial warrior realm." Peak of the martial warrior realm. Wang Zhong heard this and felt that there was hope. This dentist was obviously an evil practitioner who specialized in alchemy. Finding him was not only to rid the world of evil, but also to get some medicinal pills on him. Now that he was outside, it would be good if he could find some good things to cultivate. "All right, if you want to live, take me there." After a while, Wang Zhong was led by a bandit to the dentist's residence. The county magistrate had specially prepared a remote courtyard for him to use for alchemy. "This is the place." It was late at night. The bandit brought Wang Zhong to the house and said, I'll leave first. You promised to let me go." "Puchi." Wang Zhong didn't say anything and finished off the bandit with a single slash. Then he hurriedly rushed in. Dentist, bad news." Bang! The door was suddenly pushed open and a strong smell of medicine came out of the house. A man with his back facing Wang Zhong walked in. In front of him was a huge medicine cauldron. "Didn't I tell you not to disturb me when I'm alchemy? How dare you disobey?" Wang Zhong cursed at the bandit for not making things clear. He quickly said, "Dentist, I have something to report." "Speak." "It's like this. Just now, we were ordered to go to a village to help you capture someone, but we didn't expect to meet an enemy there. The others were either dead or injured. I tried my best to escape so that I could inform you." The dentist turned around. He was an old man with a face full of wrinkles and white eyes. It was obvious that in order to prolong his life, he had turned himself into an old monster. All of a sudden, a strange smile appeared on his face. With a wave of his hand, a puff of white mist shot towards Wang Zhong. "Ha ha ha, stop pretending. My subordinates usually don't even dare to enter when they come to report. Yet, you actually came in directly. It looks like you've killed all my subordinates." The white fog came too quickly. Wang Zhong was caught off guard and was hit by it. Suddenly, a sense of powerlessness came over him. Plop! Wang Zhong half knelt on the ground. He felt extremely vexed. He had made a mistake. He wanted to pretend to be one of his subordinates and attack the dentist when he wasn't paying attention. He didn't expect the dentist to see through him and get poisoned. Wang Zhong didn't know what kind of poison it was, but his body really didn't have any strength left. The dentist stood up and looked at Wang Zhong with a smile. Although you're a little old, I can see that you're still a virgin. Just right, I need someone like you to be a catalyst for my medicine. Then I'll choose you. If you can become my human pill, even if you die, it'll be worth it. Wang Zhong didn't have any strength left, but he still had the ability to think. He was extremely regretful. He didn't expect that he would be refined into a human pill. But it's okay, I can restart my life. In the next life, I won't die so miserably. At this time, Wang Zhong was finally dragged to the front of the cauldron. This cauldron had been used for many years. It was black from head to toe, and there was a raging fire burning under it. The rich medicinal fragrance came from this cauldron. Kid, are you afraid? The dentist smiled. Afraid of death? Bah! When the dentist wasn't paying attention, Wang Zhong spat a mouthful of phlegm on the dentist's face. The dentist was stunned. Wiping away the thick phlegm on his face, he said angrily, "Ha ha ha, good, good, this is the first time I've seen someone with such guts. I hope you won't regret it." Bang! He slammed his palm on Wang Zhong's chest. At this moment, Wang Zhong was weak and couldn't use any strength. This palm directly smashed his chest into pieces. Bang 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 bang. The dentist didn't stop. In order to vent his anger, the dentist broke Wang Zhong's limbs and shattered his internal organs. However, in order to prevent Wang Zhong from dying, he even thoughtfully fed Wang Zhong a life-saving pill. Hee, you feel much better now, don't you? Wang Zhong opened his mouth but did not say anything. However, he continued to circulate the unstoppable decay divine art. Wang Zhong did not want to give up until the very last moment. Unfortunately, in the next moment, Wang Zhong was in complete despair. He was thrown into the cauldron. The scalding medicinal liquid scalded Wang Zhong's skin and flesh. Ah! It was too painful. It was so painful that Wang Zhong felt that this was the most painful torture in the world. Boom! At the same time, within the cauldron, a fierce flame rose and burned. Wang Zhong's clothes were instantly burned to ashes. It's over. I'm going to die. This was Wang Zhong's first thought. However, his instinct made him circulate the unstoppable decay divine art. This divine art was like a built-in engine, constantly operating. After an unknown period of time, Wang Zhong opened his eyes in puzzlement. He thought to himself, I should be about to die, right? Since I'm already dead, why isn't there a notification from the system that I failed the mission? With this thought, he looked around his body. He was actually still in the cauldron. His originally melted skin and flesh had actually recovered. Moreover, it was even tougher than before. The bones that were smashed by the dentist had mostly recovered. On the contrary, almost all the medicinal liquid in the cauldron had been absorbed by him. Boom boom boom. The flame was still burning, and Wang Zhong's heart was getting hotter and hotter. The flame was obviously tempering his body. I understand. The unstoppable decay divine art is indeed magical. Not only can it strengthen my body when I'm injured, but it can also strengthen my body when I'm injured. In just a short while, his limbs were broken, his internal organs were smashed, and then he was burned by the fire and scalded by the medicinal liquid. No matter what kind of injury it was, he would definitely die. However, because of these injuries, he had obtained an unprecedented improvement. His body was completely restored under the transformation of the unstoppable decay divine art. Moreover, originally, recovery required a lot of strength, but the medicinal liquid around his body had become the source of his recovery. Not only did he recover, but he also became stronger. At this moment, Wang Zhong didn't know how long had passed. But it was all right. He lay comfortably in the cauldron and continued to let the fire and medicine temper his body. Right now, he was no longer a martial soldier, but a terrifying martial master. Unfortunately, Wang Zhong didn't know that. He only felt very comfortable. He was comfortable. The dentist outside was a little puzzled. Strange, why is the medicinal fragrance getting weaker and weaker? Could it be that something went wrong during my refining process? But that's impossible. I've refined this human pill more than 100 times. The success rate has long reached 100%. How can I still fail? Shaking his head, he was a little unwilling. He added another pile of medicinal ingredients into the cauldron. Finally, he increased the flame. As an alchemist, he cultivated a fire elemental cultivation technique. Once he activated his cultivation technique, flames shot out from his palm. Wang Zhong groaned and felt that it was even hotter. However, his strength was also rapidly increasing as he activated it. This feeling was really good. One day and one night passed. The dentist outside had already let the fire slowly simmer, and he went to rest. Wang Zhong, who was in the cauldron, felt that his body was no longer an ordinary body. It was a treasured weapon. An indestructible treasured weapon. Not only did he absorb all the medicinal effects, but he also absorbed the power of the fire. Clenching his fist, he felt that he had endless strength. However, perhaps because his body was too tough, his strength couldn't be seen from the outside. Because his body isolated this strength, to outsiders, he looked like a kid in the martial disciple realm. I'll continue to cultivate and see if the dentist has anything good for me. If there's nothing else, it won't be too late to come out. Wang Zhong made up his mind and cultivated in peace. Chapter 797. Early in the morning, Wang Zhong felt that the temperature of the flames around him was much higher. He understood that the dentist was here to refine medicine again. Although the dentist was cruel and merciless, he was still very professional when it came to refining medicine. Now, although the temperature of the flames was very high, Wang Zhong did not feel any discomfort at all. After adapting to it for a while, the energy once again became his. His strength soared once again. At the same time, Wang Zhong felt that a spinning bean appeared in his stomach. This was the legendary Dantian. All the energy quickly merged into it. He felt that the energy here was very strong, to the point that it was unimaginable. Wang Zhong licked his dry lips. When he returned to the Su family this time, even Su Can, Su Ziqian, and the others might not be his match. The stronger Wang Zhong became, the stranger the dentist outside became. Strange, the smell of the medicine has become faint again. I have already added so many ingredients. The dentist, who was very familiar with refining medicine, knew very well that when the medicine was about to be formed, the smell would be very delicious, especially when the air was filled with the smell of the medicine. But now, there was nothing. He decided to open the lid. After all, he had already invested a lot of resources. There was no need to wait any longer. When the lid was opened, he saw Wang Zhong sitting cross-legged in the medicine cauldron. His body was naked, as if he was already dead, not moving at all. However, his body was as if it was carved out of jade. It was crystal clear and emitted a different kind of luster. Why is the human pill different from the previous one? The dentist's heart skipped a beat. Then he was overjoyed. It was very simple. He suspected that he had refined something more powerful than the human pill. He was so happy that he couldn't wait to pull Wang Zhong out of the cage. But suddenly, Wang Zhong opened his eyes. What responded to the dentist was a heavy fist. The dentist was immersed in joy. He did not expect a fist to suddenly hit him. Bang! With just one punch, the dentist's eyes were all swollen. But luckily, he was an old monster who had lived for so many years. After being hit, he retreated. You didn't die. After landing on the ground, the dentist's expression was complicated. That's right. It's all thanks to you that I obtained such a great opportunity. Wang Zhong clenched his fists. The dentist who he thought was strong before looked so weak now. If he threw another 2 punches, he would probably be beaten to the point where even his parents wouldn't be able to recognize him. How did you become like this? Under my refinement, no one can survive. What is going on with you? Wang Zhong shrugged and said, I don't know about that, but thank you very much. No, you must know. Tell me. Do you think I will? You're courting death. The dentist threw out another cloud of white mist. However, this time, Wang Zhong did not dodge. The white mist seemed to have lost its effect in front of him and completely dissipated. Wang Zhong was not surprised by this. It was very simple. This kind of poison was also a kind of damage to him. No matter what kind of damage it was, as long as he continued to circulate the destruction and decay cultivation method, the damage would be negated. At the same time, his own strength was also rapidly increasing. Thud, thud, thud. At this moment, the dentist was really scared. In terms of strength, he was actually just a martial soldier. He was probably weaker than an ordinary martial soldier expert. The reason why he was able to make people tremble in fear was all because of his poison. Under his poison technique, basically, people would be poisoned until they fainted. At that time, they would be at his mercy. However, Wang Zhong was not afraid of his poison. "Who are you? Why is my poison not working on you?" Wang Zhong stretched his waist and his bones cracked. Then, he stared at the dentist like lightning. "Even if I tell you, you won't understand. Be a good person in your next life." At this moment, Wang Zhong seemed to have a sudden burst of energy under his feet. His whole body bounced up. He quickly rushed in front of the dentist. His palm became a blade and chopped down violently. The dentist took out a treasure sword and quickly blocked it. A shocking scene appeared. When the treasure sword touched Wang Zhong's body, it actually broke. Now, Wang Zhong's body was even harder than the treasure sword. The dentist was stunned. Even though he was a veteran of hundreds of battles and had experienced countless battles, he simply didn't know how to defend against a freak like Wang Zhong. After a while, Wang Zhong's fist came and punched the dentist to the ground. Bang! The dentist's head caved in. He couldn't be more dead. Wang Zhong took a deep breath. The dentist was dead. After calming down, Wang Zhong felt that he was lucky to be able to survive this time. Fortunately, he had practiced the destruction skill. Otherwise, he would have restarted the game. He searched the dentist's body twice and only found a few hundred taels of silver. It was really shabby. As for the medicine, there were many bottles and jars. Each bottle was marked with the use of the bottle. After checking, he put away these things and walked around the house. Just as he had guessed, he found several corpses on the side, as well as some people who were captured alive. These people were quite lucky. They were actually still alive. After releasing them, Wang Zhong left and went to the city. It was almost dawn. In the mansion of the county magistrate in the city, an old magistrate was being served by a maid. Because the maidservant was a bit slow, Magistrate Lu snorted coldly and kicked her to the ground. "You don't know anything. Don't you know that the dentist is coming today? If you make me late, I'll make you into a human pill." I'm sorry. The maid knelt on the ground and kowtowed. "Father, why isn't the dentist here yet? I still want to learn from him. I want to be as powerful as him." A young man ran in and said excitedly, "Don't worry, the dentist said that he will come today. He will extend my life and help you achieve great success. We will also benefit." "That's good." As the two of them were talking, a discordant voice sounded. "No need to wait for him." The person who spoke was naturally Wang Zhong. At the door, Wang Zhong slowly walked into the house. "Who are you?" "Guards. Where are the guards?" The young man shouted at the door. "There's no need to shout. I've taken care of them." Wang Zhong shrugged and continued, "Today, I'm here to get rid of evil for the people." After all, the dentist was only able to do as he pleased because of the magistrate's support. Without him, the dentist wouldn't have been able to do what he did. Therefore, after knowing about this, Wang Zhong came over to get rid of this evil for the sake of the people. "Warrior, please spare my life." The young man was very careful. He knelt down and pointed at the old man in the house. "It was all my father's doing. It has nothing to do with me." "You unfilial son." Wang Zhong shook his head. "You're all going to die." With that, he raised his hand and chopped down. This unscrupulous county magistrate was completely dead. Wang Zhong didn't return to the Su family. Although with his current strength, he could definitely kill 3 people in the Su family, there was no need for that. Su Can was already in the 4th sect. If he killed him, Su Zetian would suffer even more. Other than that, the most important thing was to find Su Liying's whereabouts. After more than a month, Wang Zhong finally arrived at the imperial capital, an extremely prosperous city. Looking around, Wang Zhong sighed with emotion. The towering city gate, which was dozens of feet high, and the towering city tower. Once upon a time, there was also a city tower like this. That place was my world. But now, it was better to look for her peacefully. Speaking of which, the missions in this life were indeed a little strange. Moreover, they seemed to follow a certain path, which puzzled Wang Zhong. It was very easy to enter the city. He only needed to pay a small amount of silver to enter. After that, he stayed here and inquired about the Tianshan sect. After asking around, Wang Zhong finally understood what had happened to the Tianshan sect. It turned out that the Tianshan sect used to be very powerful, but because they offended the imperial family, the entire sect was eradicated. Now, the original site was a ruin. As for the disciples inside, fortunately, the people who were chasing after them said that as long as they surrendered, they would let bygones be bygones. Therefore, many disciples surrendered. As for the holy maiden, Su Liying, she had gone missing. Afterwards, there were indeed many people looking for Su Liying. Even the current crown prince put out a bounty to find traces of Su Liying. He also said that he would not harm Su Liying and would even make her a concubine. From some of the rumors, Wang Zhong roughly understood what was going on. The reason why the crown prince wanted to deal with the Tianshan sect was most likely because of Su Liying. At the same time, there should be some hidden secrets. With his current status, he could not come into contact with these secrets. However, there was one thing that Wang Zhong was sure of, and that was that Su Liying was definitely fine. If something had happened to Su Liying, the crown prince would not have given out the order to search for her. Following this, Wang Zhong stayed here for more than a month. He learned about many things in the city, as well as the distribution of the large factions. There were many large sects around the imperial capital. However, in terms of power, the imperial capital was naturally the most powerful. No matter how powerful the nearby sects were, they could only submit to the imperial capital. During this time, Wang Zhong heard that a sect similar to the Cloud Sky sect, the Qingwen sect, was recruiting disciples. The Qingwen sect is very powerful and is no weaker than the Cloud Sky sect. If I can find evidence of the Cloud Sky sect's destruction through them, I might be able to find evidence. With this idea in mind, Wang Zhong decided to participate in the Qingwen sect's recruitment. On this day, after Wang Zhong packed up his belongings, he arrived at the Qingwen sect. He had arrived quite early, but there were even more people here. Wang Zhong found a line with fewer people. Among so many people, his presence was a bit out of place. It was very simple. He looked a lot older, and many of the people around him looked a few years younger than him. Wang Zhong also noticed that the people here were all wearing expensive clothes. It was obvious that they had high status in the secular world. Wang Zhong couldn't help but sigh. The Qingwen sect was indeed a large sect. It was said that unless the disciples of ordinary families were very talented, it would be as difficult as ascending to the heavens to enter the Qingwen sect. Wang Zhong quickly went through the recruitment process. The process was very simple. He just had to fill in his name, where he came from, and how old he was. Apart from this, he also had to pay a large amount of fees. In a sense, this fee was to eliminate most of the people who didn't have the strength. In this world, talent was important, but similarly, background was also very important. For example, if 2 people had similar talent, the son of a rich man and the son of a poor man, then the rich man's son would definitely become a genius. This was because he had innumerable wealth to throw away and innumerable natural treasures to use. In the end, the rich man's son would win at the starting line and leave the poor man's son further and further behind. Luckily, Wang Zhong had obtained a lot of money before coming here, so after paying the fee, he followed a group of people in. At this moment, Wang Zhong and a group of people who were participating in the recruitment meet came to a training field in the Qingwen sect. The field was very big and spacious, enough for the newcomers to stand. Wang Zhong roughly estimated that there were about 10,000 people here, and the elders of the Qingwen sect were standing on a high platform not far away, observing these people. Suddenly, an old man with a white beard flew down and slowly landed. He looked in Wang Zhong's direction and scanned the entire field with a spirited gaze. Wang Zhong could tell that this old man was probably the person in charge of this recruitment. Those who already have a cultivation base, take 10 steps forward. As soon as these words were spoken, more than 9,000 people walked forward. Immediately after, the old man shouted again with full energy, "Those who have elders at the martial disciple realm or above, take 10 steps forward." If there were experts in the family, it meant that most of the children had strength. This was also a good way to eliminate people. However, in Wang Zhong's opinion, there might be a lack of geniuses. But to the Qingwen sect, it didn't matter. To the Qingwen sect, they had never lacked geniuses. Then, the old man listed out the conditions. For example, those who were over 22 years old would leave automatically. Those who didn't improve within a year would leave automatically. Of course, there were also many people who stayed because they wanted to get lucky. Therefore, after a series of explanations, more than half of the people were persuaded to leave. The remaining people were basically able to cultivate. However, there were still too many people. No matter how strong the Qingwen sect was, it was impossible for them to recruit so many people for no reason. To these large sects, no matter how many people there were, they might not be as useful as a genius. The right choice was to give priority to the few people at the top of the pyramid. The old man looked at the remaining people and felt that there were too many people. He needed to eliminate more people this year. It was obviously unrealistic to let them compete one by one. After all, there were so many people and it would take too much time. Therefore, he continued, "Those who are over 20 years old, leave." Those who were over 20 years old were already lacking in talent. Therefore, after weighing the pros and cons, he decided to abandon this group of people. As soon as the old man finished speaking, the crowd became noisy. It was very simple. There were many people over 20 years old, making up half of the people here. According to the previous rules, so many people were allowed to enter the Qingwen sect. But now, they were being chased away. Wang Zhong's face also darkened because he was over 20 years old. Chapter 798. To be honest, the old man's actions were a little unfair. However, no one could say anything. This was the advantage of a sect. An ordinary person like you wanted to reason with them? Sorry, there was no way. Did you all hear that? Those who are over 20 years old, leave now. The old man waved his hand, and a strong pressure pressed down. The group of people below all turned pale in the face of such pressure. This pressure was really unstoppable. However, only Wang Zhong walked out, one step at a time. Among so many people, Wang Zhong was the only one who was able to withstand the pressure and walk forward. This caused many people to focus their gazes. Feeling the group's gaze, Wang Zhong's expression changed. He walked to the front and stood not far away from the old man. The old man was a little surprised, and a playful look appeared on his face. He was thinking about Wang Zhong's intention this time. Was he trying to get his attention? Or was he trying to reason with him? "Kid, I see that you're not young anymore. Are you 20 years old?" the old man asked. His voice was so loud that everyone heard it. Wang Zhong bowed slightly and introduced himself. After introducing his name and age, Wang Zhong continued, "Although I'm 20 years old, I'm confident that my talent is not inferior to anyone. Therefore, I'd like to ask the elder to consider carefully." The old man frowned. To be honest, they judged people based on their appearance. Wang Zhong really couldn't tell anything from his appearance. However, at this moment, Wang Zhong released a little of his strength. So strong! Feeling the strength in Wang Zhong's body, he was stunned. With such strong strength, he was at least a peak martial warrior. A peak martial warrior at 20 years old was not a genius, but a genius among geniuses. Even the top few inner disciples of the sect were not as good as him. For a moment, the Wenqing sect elder's heart was in turmoil. At the same time, he was very excited. How many years had it been since a heaven-defying monster had appeared in the Azure-seeking sect? Initially, he did not have high hopes for this year's batch. Who would have thought that a monster would appear on his own? Unknowingly, the old man didn't know what to say. He wanted to excitedly recruit Wang Zhong into the sect, but there were so many people watching. What if they saw Wang Zhong's extraordinary talent and targeted him? Although the Azure-seeking sect was incomparably huge, there was actually a lot of pressure behind it. If a genius with heaven-defying talent appeared, it was very likely that he would be assassinated. Normally, when it came to such geniuses, the various sects would hide them until they had the ability to protect themselves. Only then would they let outsiders know. Wang Zhong didn't think much about it. He was just curious. Why didn't the old man say anything? Cough, cough. Senior, what's wrong? Wang Zhong asked. Cough, cough. Elder Wenqing coughed a few times to hide his embarrassment. Then, he pretended to be calm and said, "Well, your talent is not bad. How about this? I take back what I said just now. Those who are over 21 years old, leave." Many people in their 20s heaved a sigh of relief when they heard this. Just like that, Wang Zhong successfully entered the Azure-seeking sect. What surprised the outside world was that after the Azure-seeking sect's recruitment, they brought the disciples up the mountain. Wang Zhong was brought by the old man to the sect master's place. "Kid, I'm the Grand Elder of the Azure-seeking sect, Wei Xian. You're so strong at such a young age. Did you really learn it yourself?" Wei Xian asked as they flew. "That's right." Wang Zhong answered casually. He had indeed learned it himself, but the skill he used was special. Of course, regarding the matter of the cultivation method, he naturally would not reveal it to anyone. "Good, good. You should know that there aren't many people as young as you in this world." "I know." Wang Zhong nodded silently. "That's why I came to the Azure-seeking sect. I'll study hard and hope to become as strong as you in the future." Wang Zhong's casual flattery made Wei Xian very happy. He sped up a lot. As he ran, he took out a communication token. "Sect Master, I've found a treasure. A 20-year-old martial warrior at the peak. I'll definitely help him enter the martial master realm this year. Bring it over quickly." The sect leader replied on the communication board. Wang Zhong naturally didn't know about the communication between the two. He was just sighing. Indeed, only by showing his talent could he be valued by the Azure-seeking sect. In order to achieve his goal quickly, he had to do this to raise his status in the Azure-seeking sect. When they arrived at the top of the mountain, the spiritual energy here was dense. Clouds and mist lingered around it, making it look like a paradise. Looking ahead, there was a large hall erected in front of them. There were a few words written on it, "Azure-seeking sect hall." Wei Xian said, "Let's go in. The sect master has been waiting for you for a long time." After entering the Azure-seeking sect, the sect master, asking God, had his hands behind his back. Sensing Wei Xian and Wang Zhong's arrival, he turned his head to look at them. Asking God looked to be in his 60s or 70s. He was wearing a white robe. There was a sense of vicissitudes between his brows. His eyes seemed to be able to see through the mortal world and see through everything. Therefore, when Wang Zhong came in, he looked at him with a serious gaze. What he saw made him feel a little strange, because he realized that he couldn't see through Wang Zhong. Wang Zhong didn't give him the feeling that he was a young man, but a person who had lived for a long time. "Greetings, Sect Master. This is Chen Ping, the person I told you about," Wei Xian said. Chen Ping. Asking God stared at Wang Zhong and nodded silently. "Greetings, Sect Master," Wang Zhong also said. Asking God nodded slightly and said to Wei Xian, "Elder Wei, you can go back first. I'll talk to Chen Ping. Yes, sect master. After Wei Xian left, Asking God took Wang Zhong to the back garden at the back door. He casually asked about the situation of Wang Zhong's family. Wang Zhong told him everything in detail. He didn't hide anything at all. The main reason was that Wang Zhong was on a mission. Asking God was such a big sect, so there must be a way to find out about his background. If he talked nonsense, he would definitely be suspected. Therefore, in order to avoid unnecessary trouble, there was no need to lie. Besides, lying was meaningless. I didn't expect you to experience such a disaster in the Su family. After listening to Wang Zhong's story, Asking God looked solemn. The Su family was not powerful, so Asking God naturally didn't know about it. However, he knew about Su lying. Back then, the Tianshan sect was at its peak. In particular, there was a talented woman in the sect, who was Su lying. I didn't expect you to be from the Su family. After Su lying went missing, the Su family changed so much. Yes, I was locked up in the dungeon for many years. Fortunately, their guards were lax, so I was able to escape. Well, I'm afraid it's not that their guards are lax, but that your strength has reached a certain level. Asking God analyzed for Wang Zhong. He felt that Wang Zhong awakened his talent after being humiliated. In fact, his guess was similar to what happened to Wang Zhong. The difference was that he thought that Wang Zhong could cultivate so fast because of his talent, but in fact, it was because of his powerful cultivation method. So you came here this time to find your sister, Su lying? Asking God guessed. Yes. Wang Zhong nodded. Sect Master, I'd like to know why Su lying suddenly disappeared. This matter is related to the current royal family. With your current strength, it's better for you to pretend that you don't know. In addition, don't tell anyone that you are Su lying's brother. Otherwise, it's easy to get you killed. Got it. Wang Zhong secretly rejoiced. Since the sect master said this to him, it also showed that he had no malice. If it was someone else, they would probably be wary of him. Next, you will cultivate on Mount Qi. That is a place where only my personal disciples can cultivate. Work hard, understand. Wang Zhong was a little flattered. He didn't expect that he would be in such a high position as soon as he came here. He was directly allowed to cultivate on a mountain where only personal disciples could cultivate. What did this mean? Was it love? Was it responsibility? Was it care? No, it was none of those. It was importance. It was obvious that his talent had been recognized at the moment. Next, it would depend on his character and loyalty. Thank you for your kindness, Sect Master. Wang Zhong said respectfully. It's okay, but if the outside world asks, you can't reveal any of your strength, understand? Got it. Well, next, let me introduce you to the situation here. To be able to be introduced by the sect master personally, this honor was probably enough to scare people to death. At this moment, Wang Zhong was filled with emotion. His heart was filled with gratitude towards Asking Gods. After walking around, Wang Zhong more or less understood the situation here. After that, Asking God took out a ring. This is a space ring. There is a space inside. If you have any natural treasures, you can put them in. Alright, I have already put some natural treasures in here. Use them well in the future and strive to become a martial master as soon as possible. Sect Master. Wang Zhong was stunned again. They had only known each other for a short time and the sect master had actually given him such a reward. He wasn't someone who didn't know what was good for him. He immediately said, Sect Master, you gave me so many good things directly. You actually trust me so much? Asking God smiled and said, Your talent is the best I have ever seen. In time, you will definitely become a martial grandmaster. Which faction would send a talented person like you to be a spy? Wang Zhong understood and thought to himself, that's right. However, although your talent is good, you must understand that you cannot bully the weak or bully others. If I find out, I will kick you out of the sect. Disciple understands. In the following days, Wang Zhong had been cultivating on his own mountain. To be honest, the competition between the disciples of Seeking Green sect was very fierce, especially the monthly competition. Only those who improved would be able to get good cultivation resources next month. Otherwise, everything depended on oneself. However, for Wang Zhong, he didn't have so many burdens. The reason was very simple. His cultivation resources were given by the sect master personally. In the blink of an eye, 3 months had passed. Feeling that his strength was quite stable, Wang Zhong thought about going to other places in the sect to understand the situation of the disciples. In addition, he was also preparing to go out and find Su Liying. However, he couldn't leave the sect right now. In the words of the sect master, asking God, it was very chaotic outside. In order to make the sects obey, the royal family had been suppressing them all these years. A few years ago, the Heavenly Mountain sect was destroyed because the royal family wanted to kill the chicken to warn the monkey. Wang Zhong naturally remembered asking God's words in his heart. So, he left his mountain and went to the main peak. The main peak had the most people. They were all cultivating disciples. Walking on the path of the main peak, there were many disciples walking in groups of 3 to 5. Senior Brother Lin, please enlighten me. Ha ha ha, I'll enlighten you. Come on, let's fight. Some people were exchanging pointers, while others were discussing their cultivation experiences. Senior Sister Chu, do you think cultivation methods came first or cultivators came first? I think cultivation methods came first. After all, without cultivation methods, how can there be cultivators? Junior Sister, cultivation methods come first. Of course there are people first. But how can people cultivate without cultivation methods? Senior Sister, I don't think you're right. Okay, you're right. You're all right. Looking at the harmonious scene, Wang Zhong was filled with emotions. If Su Liying was here, it would be great. She would be surprised to see how powerful he was. Just as he was thinking about this, several burly men suddenly walked towards him. It was obvious that they had a high status here. Because along the way, many junior brothers and sisters lowered their heads and greeted them. Wang Zhong didn't pay much attention to them, but he didn't expect the 4 strong men to arrive in front of Wang Zhong. You're the new disciple of Qi Mountain, Chen Ping? The leader of the group was the tallest. He crossed his arms and stared coldly at Wang Zhong. Yes, senior brother. How can I help you? Nothing. I just want to exchange pointers with you. Come on. Wait, I don't know your name. Sect leader's personal disciple, Situ Anan. Actually, when Situ Anan spoke, the surrounding people had already recognized this arrogant man. It's actually Situ Anan. This person is in big trouble. But who is he? Didn't you hear what senior brother Situ said? He seems to be a disciple of Qi Mountain. Ah, if he's from Qi Mountain, then isn't he also a personal disciple of the sect leader? That must be it. There are a total of 9 personal disciples of the sect leader. I heard that recently, someone moved into Qi Mountain. It's a pity that no one has seen him before. Tisk. TSK. TSK. He's actually the new personal disciple of the sect leader. He must be very capable. While the others were talking, Wang Zhong understood more or less. He cupped his hands and said, So it's senior brother Situ. According to the rules of the sect, we can exchange pointers. Come on. All right. Wang Zhong had no choice but to agree. The battle soon began. Situ Anan started with a killing move. Wang Zhong frowned. They were all from the same sect, but this guy actually used a killing move. However, his opponent's strength was obviously weaker than his. The reason was simple. After a few days of cultivation, he had already entered the martial master realm. Although he had the strength to crush his opponent, Wang Zhong did not have the intention to kill him because they were from the same sect. After a few moves, Situ Anan finally realized that something was wrong. His moves were easily countered by his opponent. On the other hand, his opponent was still fighting with ease. So he was still holding back. Thank you for letting me win. Finally, after a few moves, Wang Zhong took a few steps back, indicating that he did not want to continue fighting. You're very powerful. I admit defeat. Situ Anand suddenly smiled. Someone in the crowd was puzzled. Isn't senior brother Situ's temper quite good? Why is he suddenly looking for trouble with this junior brother? Who knows? Chapter 799. Wang Zhong naturally heard the words of the surrounding disciples and felt very strange in his heart. Previously, he actually went down the mountain once. That time was the same as this time. He went out in a low-key manner. What he saw and heard were all from some disciples. This Situ Anand's temper was very good. Whoever wanted to consult him, he would not refuse. But now, why was his temper like this? It was really puzzling. Situ Anand did not say a word and quickly left this place. Not long later, many people came up to greet Wang Zhong to show their closeness. In the evening, Wang Zhong prepared to go back and cook something to eat. Although he was a direct disciple, in order to nurture the ability of the disciples to be independent, he had to take care of his basic necessities. On the way back, in a garden, he saw a group of people surrounding a female disciple and talking. Yi Fian, what did I tell you a few days ago? Where are the pills and silver that I asked you to show filial piety? Quickly take them out. The leader of this group of people was a handsome man. At first glance, Wang Zhong felt that he was somewhat familiar. Thinking carefully, he really did know him. He remembered that when he went to pay a visit to the sect leader, this man was beside the sect leader. Suddenly, Wang Zhong's eyes flashed and he remembered. Isn't this eldest senior brother, Chen Jian? Chen Jian, the sect leader's direct disciple. His strength was very tyrannical. Not only that, Chen Jian's reputation in the sect was also very high. It was said that many girls were infatuated with him. However, this person was a sword fanatic. He wholeheartedly cultivated the sword and did not care about worldly affairs. But now, it seemed that he was actually extorting from his fellow disciples. Wang Zhong instantly exploded in anger. Wu, eldest senior brother, I don't have any pills. Please let me go. Wu. Yi Fian cried like a pear blossom in the rain. Sitting on a piece of mud, the mud had dirted her white dress. It looked very distressing. The few people by the side were all sneering. A little fatty pushed Yi Fian's head and coldly snorted, Hurry up. If you make eldest senior brother unhappy, I'll draw a turtle on your face. That's right. I'll let you see the cruelty of us brothers. No, I don't want to see such cruelty. Yi Fian couldn't stop crying. I really don't have any more pills. I don't have any money either. My family is very poor. Wu, please let me go. You refuse a toast only to drink a forfeit. Chen Jian frowned and was about to draw his sword. He was trying to kill someone. Wang Zhong immediately rushed over and stood in front of Yi Fian. Senior brother Chen, what are you trying to do? Wang Zhong accused. Why would I, Chen Jian, need to explain my actions to you? Chen Jian lowered his head and said while holding his sword. As the eldest senior brother of the sect, is this how you bully your fellow disciples? I didn't expect you to be such a big senior brother. Wang Zhong shook his head, feeling very disappointed. To think that he had thought that the eldest senior brother of the sect was so good. Who would have thought that he was such a person? Bah! Hey, who are you? Hurry up and get out of the way. Don't ruin eldest senior brother's plans. The fatty from before reprimanded. I remember now. You're the newcomer. You're the Qi Shan Peak disciple, right? The sect master's new personal disciple, someone said. That's even better. Listen up, this is eldest senior brother. We're in the middle of something now. Leave properly and eldest senior brother won't make things difficult for you. Otherwise, who knows? The surrounding people were obviously on eldest senior brother's side. One after another, they were extremely rude and unreasonable. Chen Jian's head was still lowered as if the matter had nothing to do with him. That made Wang Zhong even angrier. Is this guy looking down on me, or what? Not only is he bullying me, he's even acting as if he's awesome and I'm right while you're wrong. Eldest senior brother, I didn't expect you to be such a person. Wang Zhong snorted coldly. Chen Jian's body was trembling. He seemed to be angry. After a long time, he finally spoke, "You don't have to care about my matters. Go away." When Wang Zhong heard this, he almost thought that it was a fake recital. At this time, Wang Zhong realized that something was wrong because Chen Jian didn't look like the kind of person who often bullied others. Although it was strange, the matter had indeed happened. As for Chen Jian, he had already pulled out his sword and pointed it at Wang Zhong. "Stop talking, let's fight. You dare to stop me from bullying others, this is your end." As soon as his words fell, without waiting for Wang Zhong to speak, Chen Jian rushed over with a gloomy face. This person is crazy. Wang Zhong now felt that this was the first time Chen Jian bullied others. Because his tone was wrong. Who would say something like, "Dare to stop me from bullying others during a fight?" With doubts in his heart, Wang Zhong sucked the sword of a disciple beside him and raised it to block. When Wang Zhong raised his sword, Chen Jian's eyes lit up. He seemed to have seen a magical treasure and laughed 3 times at Wang Zhong. Good, 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 let's fight. What a lunatic. Wang Zhong could feel the continuous battle intent on Chen Jian's body. This battle intent was not something that an ordinary person could have. Only someone who really liked swords would have it. Unfortunately, Chen Jian, who was very strong to others, was too weak to Wang Zhong. This was the difference in level, nothing else. Chen Jian's sword intent was indeed very strong, terrifyingly strong, but in terms of realm and comprehension of cultivation methods, it was too weak. In the blink of an eye, Chen Jian was exhausted. In the end, Wang Zhong slapped him with the back of his sword and he was directly sent flying, landing on the ground and vomiting blood. However, Chen Jian was beaten to such a state, but he still laughed loudly. Good, good, good. I haven't played with the sword so freely in a long time. Continue, continue. Puff, puff, puff. Large mouthfuls of blood spurted out again. Chen Jian was completely exhausted. With a plop, Chen Jian fell backward and fell to the ground. Ah, eldest senior brother. The others hurried to help him. Wang Zhong walked to Yi Fian's side and helped her up. Are you okay? Yi Fian shook her head slightly and cried, Thank you. If it weren't for you, I would have. As she said that, Yi Fian cried directly. She lay on Wang Zhong's shoulder and cried very sadly. Wang Zhong sighed and comforted her. Don't cry. Senior brother, can you send me back? I'm afraid that eldest senior brother will take revenge. Since the girl had said so, what else could Wang Zhong say? He nodded and said, All right then. Then, he got up and left with Yi Fian. What Wang Zhong did not know was that when they were leaving, on a mountain peak not far away, the sect leader was leading a group of Sikh Azure sect's higher-ups to observe the situation here. After seeing Wang Zhong leave, the sect leader sighed and said, So far, 2 rounds of the test have passed. Situ Anand's performance just now was not bad. Who would have thought that an honest person like him would be able to act so ruthlessly? Not bad, not bad. An elder at the side said with a smile. It's a pity that Chen Jian's acting is too bad. He can't even bully a girl. In the end, he actually competed with his sword skills. What a sword maniac. Grand Elder Wei Xian said with dissatisfaction. Speaking of which, didn't you take a liking to him because he's a sword maniac? Back then, you even begged to take him as your disciple. A female elder at the side could not stand Wei Xian's acting and mocked him. Wei Xian had an awkward expression on his face as he explained, Cultivation is one thing. Aren't we talking about daily life? I also want Chen Jian to interact with the disciples more often. Don't be unable to even pretend to bully others. Don't talk about it anymore. Next, there are 2 more tests waiting for Wang Zhong. If he can pass them, then we can proceed to the next step. Ask God said calmly, if you want to become the next sect leader, you have to pass these tests. The elders nodded slightly. After learning about Wang Zhong's extraordinary talent, the sect leader intended to pass the position of the next sect leader to Wang Zhong. However, although Wang Zhong's talent was good, no one knew what his character was like. If he had a bad character and a bad attitude, wouldn't it be a disgrace to ask Green Sect? As a result, the elders came up with this test. There were a total of 4 tests. First, whether the person was easily angered. They sent Situ Anan to provoke Wang Zhong. Fortunately, Wang Zhong remained calm under Situ Anan's provocation, which made them very satisfied. The second test was whether the person had a sense of justice and was fearful of power. They sent eldest senior brother Chen Jian to lead a group of people to bully Yi Fian. In the eyes of the disciples, eldest senior brother Chen Jian was very powerful and ordinary disciples did not dare to offend him. Fortunately, Wang Zhong stood out bravely and stood up for Yi Fian. This made the elders very happy. The third test was much harder. At this moment, the elders were secretly frowning, wondering if the sect leader had gone overboard. After all, the next test was really difficult. Not too long ago, several of his direct disciples had failed to pass the examination. Even Chen Jian had knelt down in the final stage. Now, could Wang Zhong pass? They had a big question mark in their hearts. At this moment, Wang Zhong and Yi Fian had already gone to a mountain peak. This mountain peak was slightly shorter than Wang Zhong's, and the spiritual qi was much weaker. However, Yi Fian's place was neat and tidy. Now, she was a good girl who liked to do housework. Senior brother Chen, have a seat. My place is small, don't mind. Yi Fian attentively brought out a small stool for Wang Zhong and invited Wang Zhong to sit down. Wang Zhong sat down and smiled. Don't be so polite. Since I've sent you here, I'll take my leave. If you encounter any difficulties in the future, feel free to tell me. Wang Zhong had always felt that as fellow disciples, it was natural for them to love and help each other. Yi Fian said gratefully, Thank you, senior brother Chen. You're so good to me. Yi Fian's eyes were watery as she looked at Wang Zhong expectantly. This made Wang Zhong sigh. This was another woman who could bring disaster to the country. Don't call me senior brother Chen. Speaking of which, I joined the sect later than you. Wang Zhong sighed. Yi Fian held Wang Zhong's hand and lowered her head. Senior brother Chen, although you joined the sect later, your talent is amazing. In my opinion, you're better than me, so you're my senior brother. At this moment, Yi Fian's words were a little too ambiguous. Especially when she was so close to him, this made Wang Zhong feel strange. He retreated a little and said, All right, you rest well. I still have some matters to attend to, so I'll be leaving first. Senior brother Chen, wait. Suddenly, Yi Fian pulled Wang Zhong and said excitedly, Senior brother, you saved Fian today, and Fian has nothing to repay you with. I'll be yours from now on, you. Come on. As soon as he finished, Yi Fian was very proactive. Her white dress actually flew up into the air. This was too fast. Wang Zhong was caught off guard. Yi Fian's fair cheeks were frighteningly red as she said embarrassedly, Senior brother Chen, let's go to my room and discuss cultivation techniques. What do you think? This was no longer a hint, but a blatant declaration. Seeing that Yi Fian had pulled him over, Wang Zhong sighed, Sigh, don't be like this. Come on. Yi Fian, don't be like this. Come on, I really like you. Yi Fian was incomparably proactive as she pounced on him. Her beautiful body was like a spirit snake as she slithered up. Buzz buzz. Suddenly, Wang Zhong shook her off slightly and said with a frown, I still have something to do, so I'll be leaving first. With that, Wang Zhong turned around and left. Senior brother Chen, do you hate me? Yi Fian stopped Wang Zhong and couldn't help but shout. Wang Zhong paused and shook his head. Of course I don't hate you. It's just that we just met and you're already like this. It really makes me ashamed. I'll be leaving first. Wang Zhong shook his head. Admittedly, this Yi Fian was indeed very beautiful. Whether it was her figure or her face, they were all top-notch. If she was placed in a modern club, she would definitely have the most people. However, he still had to find Su Lying next, so he naturally didn't want to have anything to do with other women. Moreover, he had experienced many lifetimes. When facing girls, his heart was already as calm as still water. Naturally, he could leave without hesitation. Looking at Wang Zhong's back, Yi Fian was stunned. In this world, there is actually such a man. It's really surprising. At this time, asking gods and many elders flew down. Yi Fian put on her white dress and walked out. She said respectfully, "Disciple Yi Fian greets sect leader." Fian, you did well. Your acting is much better than your senior brother Chen Jian. Grand Elder Wei Xian said. Chen Jian had already come over. He lowered his head in shame and said, "Disciple, bully. I really can't bully." Yi Fian laughed and said, "Senior brother, when you bullied me just now, you almost made me laugh to death." Chen Jian's face turned red. "In the future, don't make me do such things." "Isn't this to test Chen Ping?" Grand Elder was speechless, but fortunately he passed the test. Yi Fian nodded and said, "Yeah, I really didn't expect it. He didn't even look at me. Next, there's only one test left. I hope Chen Ping can pass smoothly." Asking gods looked up at the moon. Next, it was the most important moment. In the imperial city, the suppression of their sects was getting stronger and stronger. He had a premonition that something big was going to happen soon. He had to find someone to replace him in advance. And this person was Wang Zhong. Wang Zhong's talent was the best he had ever seen. Now, as long as his character passed, then he would be the next sect leader in the future. Let's go and see if Chen Ping can pass the next test. Asking gods took a step forward and disappeared in the next moment. The rest of the people followed him. Chapter 800. I didn't expect Yi Fian to be so proactive. Walking on the road, Wang Zhong was still thinking about Yi Fian's figure just now. To be honest, it was really great. Unfortunately, the timing was not right. Moreover, he would try his best not to touch someone he had no feelings for. In the future, I must persuade Yi Fian. How can she be like this at such a young age? It's not good for a girl to be like this. Wang Zhong thought as he walked. He was going to return to the mountain peak to get something to eat. When he was halfway there, a black-clothed figure suddenly flashed in front of him. "Who are you?" Wang Zhong's expression changed. A man in black suddenly appeared in the dark. He was definitely not a good person. The man in black seemed to be looking for Wang Zhong. He suddenly appeared in front of Wang Zhong. "The new direct disciple of Wenqing sect is indeed worthy of your reputation. You can actually see my whereabouts." The one who spoke was obviously an old man. His voice was hoarse and his body was surging with strength. He was obviously an expert among experts. If Wang Zhong's guess was right, this person must be a martial master expert. Why would such an expert break into Wenqing sect in the middle of the night? At this moment, Wang Zhong was speechless. King appeared in front of me. It's not strange that I can see your whereabouts, right? Who are you? You broke into Wenqing sect in the middle of the night. Aren't you afraid that Wenqing sect will deal with you? The old man said, "I came here tonight to find you." "Find me?" Wang Zhong frowned. He felt that things were not simple. He had just come out for a stroll. Why did he encounter so many problems? "Yes, I know you just came to Wenqing sect. Your talent is amazing. How about you be my spy?" Wang Zhong was just about to refuse when the old man waved his hand. "Don't be in such a hurry to refuse. Look at what this is." As soon as he finished speaking, an item appeared in the old man's hand. It was a black iron sword glowing with a green light. Just by looking at its appearance, Wang Zhong could tell that this sword was not simple. The old man chuckled. This is the Azure Light Sword, an upper-grade artifact with boundless power. Whoever uses this sword will have their strength increased by 5%. As long as you agree to be my spy in the Green Seeking Sect and do something for me, I'll give you this sword. Then, the old man took out another box. After opening it, a pungent aroma wafted out. This item is a high-grade mixed yuan pill. Consuming this pill will allow you to break through your current cultivation level. I'll give it to you. Young man, these two are good stuff. You can't buy them even if you want to. What do you think? Wang Zhong shook his head. No need. But since you're here, you can stay. I'll hand you over to the sect leader. Brat, you don't know what's good for you. You don't want such a good thing? The old man's tone turned cold as he threatened. If you don't want it, then I'm sorry. Because now that you've seen me, if you don't become one of my people, then you must die. After saying this, a huge pressure instantly enveloped Wang Zhong. In fact, this pressure was nothing to Wang Zhong. What he was thinking now was, once he exposed his strength, could he still stay here? The most important thing now was to support the Green Seeking Sect so that he could find Su Lying in the future. Hee, brat, are you afraid? This is the pressure of the martial mentor realm. As long as you nod, I promise you won't die, and you can get my treasure, which will increase your strength greatly. Although the old man's face was covered, Wang Zhong could hear the old man's pride. Wang Zhong stepped back slightly and said, in that case, don't blame me. Sect leader, elders, enemy attack. Wang Zhong's chi sank into his dantian. His voice rumbled, and a huge shout directly rushed to the sky. Not far away, Asking Celestial and the elders smiled when they saw this scene. This brat, I was right about him. Asking Celestial nodded with satisfaction. So, this brat has passed the test and become the holy son of the Green Seeking Sect. No one has any objections, right? If he can maintain this cultivation speed, he is indeed the best candidate. Not bad, not bad. Everyone agreed. Well, go down and explain the situation to Chen Ping. Asking Celestial came over. At this time, the masked old man also took off his black mask. Wang Zhong had never seen this old man before, but after Asking Celestial came over, Asking Celestial greeted him politely. Elder Long, thank you for your hard work. It's not hard. It's good that my old bones can still do things for the sect. Wang Zhong felt a little strange. He looked at the elders and said, Sect leader, you are. Chen Ping, this is a test for you. It's like this. Asking Celestial explained the matter. Only then did Wang Zhong know that this was a test for the personal disciple. It made it difficult for Situ and to provoke him and test his temper. Chen Jian bullied Yi Fian to test whether he was upright or not. Yi Fian seduced Wang Zhong to test whether he was a pervert. Finally, Elder Long was sent to tempt Wang Zhong with treasures and intimidate him with the aura of a martial mentor. Fortunately, Wang Zhong had passed all of them. After knowing this, Wang Zhong was speechless. No wonder the Green Seeking Sect was so powerful. They did not only choose disciples based on talent, but also on character. Let's go. Asking Celestial led Wang Zhong away. Soon, the two arrived at the Green Seeking Sect's main hall, in front of a huge statue. Asking Celestial pointed at the statue and said, This is the founder of the Green Seeking Sect. He left a message that the Green Seeking Sect must win people over with virtue. To become the Holy Son, you must pass the 4 tests. Chen Ping, you have passed. After saying this, Asking Celestial looked at the statue and bowed slightly. He said loudly, The 57th sect leader of the Green Seeking Sect, Asking Celestial, is willing to accept Chen Ping as a personal disciple under the witness of the founder. Today, Chen Ping has passed the 4 tests. His character is guaranteed, and his talent is excellent. Therefore, Chen Ping is the holy son of the Green Seeking Sect. Following this, Asking Celestial reached out his hand, and several sandalwood incense sticks on the table flew into his hand. After lighting them, Asking Celestial respectfully offered the incense sticks and said, "Chen Ping, burn incense for the founder. After that, you will be the only personal disciple of the Green Seeking Sect. When I retire, you will be the sect leader of the Green Seeking Sect." Hearing this, Wang Zhong was stunned. He looked at Asking Celestial in surprise. "Holy Son?" "Yes, you don't have to be so surprised. With your talent, you are fully qualified. However, I warn you, don't be arrogant. You should know that even the best talent will be used up one day. Do you understand?" "I know, but I am really surprised. After all, I haven't been in the sect for long. It has nothing to do with time." After thinking for a while, Asking Celestial continued, "I know we are a bit hasty, but there is no other way. The Green Seeking Sect is likely to encounter the biggest trouble since its establishment. Therefore, I chose you to be the Holy Son in advance." What trouble?" Wang Zhong was puzzled. "It is not good to tell you these things, but you are already the Holy Son. It is fine to tell you these things. The current Crown Prince is extremely talented and powerful. He may feel that the major sects are too big, so he wants to suppress us. A few years ago, the Heavenly Mountain sect was suppressed like this. In 3 months, it will be the day of the 100 sect gathering. It is very likely that the Crown Prince will find trouble at this gathering." Wang Zhong said, "Since the Crown Prince did this, the other sects should also resist." "What did they say?" "The other sects are too happy." Asking Celestial sighed and continued, "In the imperial capital, there are 5 major sections. These 5 major sects and the imperial court each occupy a high-quality spirit mine. Usually, the spirit stones produced by the mine are evenly distributed. In order to not let the other small sects be dissatisfied and for the resources to be evenly distributed, the imperial court has a rule. Every 3 years, the Holy Son and Holy Daughter competition will be held. The winner will get the rights to the mine, and the loser will have to wait 3 years for another competition. Now that the imperial court is getting stronger, in order to suppress us, they definitely do not want us to get the resources. The other small sects are also happy to do so." Wang Zhong understood. "In that case, only 4 sects are on the same side as us." "Wrong, it is 3. A few years ago, the Heavenly Mountain sect was destroyed, so there are only 3 sects left. Of course, not all sects are enemies with us. Although our Green Seeking Sect is not as strong as the Imperial Court, we have countless allies. These sects have a good relationship with us. Chen Ping, now you know why I am in such a hurry to make you the Holy Son, right? There is no other way. In 3 months, the 100 sect competition will decide the 5 major sections. Your eldest senior brother Chen Jian is strong, but he doesn't know the ways of the world. You have also noticed that he can't bully anyone. As for second senior brother, third senior brother, and the others, although they are strong, their talent is still weak compared to you. Most importantly, they did not pass the test. Basically, they were defeated by your senior sister Yi Fian." Recalling Yi Fian's beautiful appearance, Wang Zhong could not help but sigh. It was normal to be defeated by Yi Fian. After that, Asking Celestial talked a lot about the secrets of this place. Asking Celestial also mentioned some of the big shots in the outside world. Finally, he took out a token and handed it to Wang Zhong. "This is the Holy Sun token of the Green Seeking Sect. Seeing this token is like seeing me. Keep it." Wang Zhong took the token and looked at it carefully. There were 3 big words written on it, Holy Sun Token. The token was heavy. He did not know what it was made of, but it was extremely hard. "Well, Chen Ping, now that you are the Holy Sun, you can make some requests. If you have any difficulties in cultivation or need any resources, you can tell me all at once. The sect will try to satisfy you." Asking Celestial said. It was obvious that the Green Seeking Sect was really rich. Since his master had said so, Wang Zhong did not stand on ceremony and made some requests. Asking Celestial was very generous. He brought Wang Zhong to the Green Seeking Sect's warehouse and gave him some treasures, as well as 1,000,000 spirit stones. "You are already the Holy Son of the Green Seeking Sect. In the future, when you do things, you have to pay attention to the extravagance. Take these spirit stones and spend them as you wish. If it's not enough, you can take more. Good master, Wang Zhong exclaimed in his heart. He did not expect the Holy Sun to be treated so well. After leaving, Wang Zhong could not wait to return to his mountain. He did not expect to see a huge change as soon as he arrived. The first was the house. Before, it was just an ordinary small house. Now, there was a big house next to it with a courtyard. It looked very beautiful. When dozens of disciples saw Wang Zhong, one of them walked over and said respectfully, "The great elder asked us to come over and help you rebuild the house. We have chosen the best materials. Take a look." Wang Zhong said with satisfaction, "It's very beautiful. Sorry to trouble you." The group of people was a little flattered. "It's no trouble at all. After all, you are the holy son of our sect. It's our duty to do such a small thing. Then we will continue to work." As they spoke, the group of people continued to work. After 2 hours, they were finally almost done. When they left, Wang Zhong gave each of them 5 spirit stones as a reward. After returning to the house, he touched the space ring and a lot of good things appeared. First of all, there was a set of golden cicada underwear. This set of underwear had the effect of resisting spells. Not only was it soft, but it was also extremely light. Wang Zhong did not say anything and put it on. In addition, there was also a praying mat. This praying mat had an array on it. Cultivating on it could have the effect of refreshing the mind and calming the heart. It was very comfortable and would definitely be twice the result with half the effort. Wang Zhong spread the praying mat on the ground and carefully sat on it. Suddenly, a cool and refreshing feeling swept over him. Not only that, the spirit energy on the mountain peak also surged over like a whirlpool. Soon, Wang Zhong felt that he had entered a state of cultivation. Spirit energy gushed out. This time, he was not cultivating a destructive cultivation technique. He had studied this cultivation technique very thoroughly. He could almost enter a state of cultivation while walking. This time, he was cultivating the secret manual of Seeking Azure Sect, the Seeking Heaven technique. This cultivation technique was also very mysterious. It could make one's magic power stronger and advance very quickly. However, compared to the destructive cultivation technique, it was a few grades lower. As he continued to cultivate, Wang Zhong felt that his strength was getting closer and closer to reality. This was a feeling that came from cultivating to the extreme. At this moment, Wang Zhong understood the true meaning of cultivation. No matter what kind of power it was, when the power reached a certain level, it would be the same. It was just like pouring water into a bucket. Whether it was tap water, Coca-Cola, or urine, this bucket could be filled. With this thought, Wang Zhong instantly broke through. After breaking through, his spirit energy soared. Wang Zhong took out a large pile of spirit stones from his spatial ring and began to absorb them. Buzz buzz buzz. Buzz buzz buzz. Countless spirit stones instantly turned into powder. On the second day, Wang Zhong felt that his dantian had become a cyclone. This cyclone was constantly rotating. This was the symbol of the martial master realm. This cyclone was like a heart, working at any time, anywhere. Wang Zhong slowly opened his eyes. If Master knew that he had broken through again, he would definitely be shocked. He walked out of the door and did not expect to see a disciple waiting at the door. Wang Zhong was stunned. Yi Fian, have you been waiting at the door for a long time? He was very surprised. Yi Fian had a complicated expression. She was very familiar with the person in front of her. After experiencing this life again, she had a deep understanding of it. However, she did not say anything. She only walked over and said, "I know that the Holy Sun has not eaten breakfast yet, so I specially brought some pastries over to apologize." You're tuning in to the Narrate and Escape YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.